Hello, everybody, and welcome back to continuing coverage of the BC Scotties Curling Championships live from the Kamloops Curling Club in Kamloops, British Columbia. John Cullen alongside Melissa Saligo once again as we gear up for the ladies' 1 versus 2 game. It's a rematch of the A final, Kayla MacMillan versus Marianne Arsenault. Kayla MacMillan was victorious in that first match. Melissa, what are some of the things that she's going to have to do to pick up the victory here once again?
Well, I tell you what we saw with Marianne Arsenault's team a little bit earlier, they were playing absolutely fantastic. And Gina Schrader at third position, it's the Gina of old. She doesn't miss a lot, and when she's on fire, watch out. So Kayla's going to have to be very, very careful. They've been sitting a little bit longer than Marianne's team. They're going to have to think about, they've had probably some practice ice today, I would imagine, but they're going to have to come out with a bit of caution, just to get a feel for the ice again. They haven't played since, I guess, yesterday at some point. So they're going to have to get a feel for the ice, just get together as a team, and just try and maybe, feel it out for maybe the first and even two. I can see that maybe being a possibility.
Yeah, certainly we saw earlier this week, Kayla was happy to blank the first couple ends. Maybe we'll see that from here today as she tries to ease into the game. Of course, we saw Marianne Arsenault winning the B final this afternoon against Diane Gushalak. And as you said, Melissa, they were full value for the victory. So she's been on the ice already today. We'll see if that is an advantage. However, Kayla MacMillan does have the advantage of starting with the hammer by virtue of winning that A final. So at least she does have that going for her, Melissa.
Yeah, definitely. And she does have that all important hammer here in the first end. And like I say, depending on what Marianne does, we did see Marianne almost go after her opposition right off the get-go. She's very, very comfortable and happy with rocks in play. So I wouldn't be surprised if this one happened to come short, that would be fine. If it slips into the rings, that would be okay too. Marianne wants to put a lot of pressure on her opposition. She's done that so far this week, and it's been very, very successful for her.
So let's talk about how the teams got here. Of course, the BC Scotties with everything going on, only an 8-team event. So we have not seen Kayla MacMillan in action that much so far. They're a perfect 3-0. They won their opener against Diane Gushalak 9-4. Then they beat Corinne Brown 7-3, and then beat Marianne Arsenault in that A final. As we talked about, that was 6-5. So a very close game in that one. And of course, for Arsenault, they had to play the one extra game after that loss to MacMillan. They beat Taylor Reese Hansen in their first game 10-4. Then they beat Sarah Wark in their second 7-4 before dropping that A final 6-5 to Kayla MacMillan. But then, as we saw this morning, they were 8-6 winners over Diane Gushalak. So it's been only one loss between these two teams. And Melissa, as we know, this is the Page 1 versus 2 game. So these teams are playing for a berth in the final. And certainly you love to get the bye to the final, to be in the final. But the other thing you get as well is a day off, which in the middle of competition, never a bad thing.
No, it is never a bad thing. And we talked about this at the beginning of the week on our earlier broadcast, that this is the first time that the women have played a triple knockout. And as a coach, you sort of break down the week at a championship. The first part of the week is, the round robin / triple or preliminary rounds, I guess it would be called. That's your first job. And the job is to get into the playoffs. That's your second job. And then third job, pardon me, is to get into that final game. And with this 1-2 game, not only would you get into the final game, but because these two teams have finished above, the winner of this game would likely, I believe, get hammer in that all-important final as well.
Yes, definitely. The winner of the 1-2 game does get hammer regardless of the opening round record. I know that myself because I did that back in 15. Whenever I lost my first provincial final, I try to forget those. But we came out of the B side, but we beat Jim Cotter in the 1-2 game, so we did have hammer in that final. So yeah, it is important not only to get that bye to the final, but also to, of course, get that advantage of starting with the hammer. And it does look like this is sort of what we predicted. I mean, Marianne Arsenault did put her first rock in the house, but Kayla MacMillan was all too happy to hit it. And so looks like we are heading to Blanksville here in the first end, but we'll see how the teams acquit themselves. And we'll meet the teams here as we get going. Of course, we get a good look at Skip Kayla MacMillan there. They are curling out of the Vancouver Curling Club. The third is, sorry, I just got a little frog in my throat. The third for their team, Jody Maskowicz. The second, Lindsay Dubé, who we're just seeing let the rock go there. And the lead, of course, is Sarah Loken. Lindsay Dubé, as we talked about earlier in the week, is the import player for Kayla MacMillan. She is from Ottawa, attending the University of Ottawa, and her and Kayla played bantam together. So they go all the way back to their early junior days. And of course, Kayla's been in BC here now for a while, going to school, and played juniors with Sarah Daniels. And she ended up staying out here and brought Lindsay out here to curl with her team. And obviously that's been a great fit so far. And of course, the Marianne Arsenault rink will be no strangers to curling fans, as Skip Marianne Arsenault, originally from Halifax, Nova Scotia, now calls Kelowna, BC home, and they're curling out of the Kelowna Curling Club. Her third is Gina Schrader, second Sasha Carter, and lead Renee Simons. And of course, those three ladies very famously all winning the Canadian Scotties Championship with Kelly Scott. So certainly a lot of fantastic resumes out on the ice and a lot of fantastic curlers, and I think this will be a fantastic game.
I am looking forward to it very, very much. As you said, we haven't really seen too much of Kayla MacMillan this week, and it's really great to see this game, this 1-2 game. This is the one we've been waiting for a long time here, and now it's coming down to this.
Yes, absolutely. So there is a look at Gina Schrader, and as you said, Melissa, the game this morning, she was the MVP for Team Arsenault, just making some fantastic shots and really getting the end set up really well. Obviously, the game ended up being quite close because Marianne Arsenault missed a shot in the 9th end that ended up making the 10th end a very close affair. They were actually down one going into the 10th before scoring 3 in the 10th. But until that point, Arsenault was really in control, and Gina was sort of the linchpin for all of that.
Yeah, I would agree. It was amazing to watch Gina again, and just to play it absolutely phenomenal. It's you know, Jody Maskowicz, as we look at her throwing her stone, she's going to have her hands full today trying to outplay her opposition.
Jody, of course, a long-time skip at the BC ladies level. She's been to the BC Scotties a number of times, never winning, but no stranger to the BC Scotties playoffs, that's for sure. And she is she's kind of come out of retirement, as it were. You know, we've sort of learned over the years, no one really retires from curling.
True.
As Marianne Arsenault's team sort of is good evidence of, but yeah, certainly Jody's been out of the competitive scene for, geez, not quite a decade, but certainly the last 7 or 8 years or so, and was sort of coaxed back into playing by Kayla MacMillan, and she's been a good fit. I think we've seen teams like this, Melissa, work really well before, where you have sort of a younger skip or a younger back end player partnered up with someone who's got a little bit more experience in it, and it really works out well for them.
It really does. Obviously, we've seen this a number of times in many, many teams across the country. And what I like about this pairing is that, you know, both Kayla and Jody, and the front end as well, but the back two are very, very focused on their fitness. They're very focused on their mental fitness, their physical fitness, the nutrition, the whole 9 yards, right? They put everything they can into the game, and they've been working really hard throughout the season under the guidance of their coach, Katie Witt.
Yes, certainly they've had a pretty busy year so far, as you alluded to. They've played in 5 tournaments. This is their 6th, and they've had some pretty decent results. They've they had a string of not qualifying, but having some big wins and some close games with some really good teams. And then they had a great result in their last spiel leading up to the BC Scotties, making the final of the DeKalb Super Spiel in Manitoba, in Morris there, where they eventually lost the final to Amber Holland, but they beat Darcy Robertson, they beat Beth Peterson, they beat Chelsea Carey twice. They had a really good run through that event, and obviously they've brought some of that confidence into this BC Scotties as they're undefeated so far. As we continue to see the two teams trading hits here.
John, we've been so busy. I do want to give a shout out to the co-chairs of this event. Brenda Norden and Linda Bolton have just done a phenomenal job with all the volunteers that have come out to help make this event such a success. So I do want to thank them. We haven't had a chance to do that of late because it's been so busy. So I do want to say a very huge thank you to Brenda and Linda.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been doing a phenomenal job. We talked earlier in the week about the entire Norden family and what they've meant to curling in BC and curling in Kamloops specifically. And of course, it was just announced this week that the 2023 Scotties are coming to Kamloops. And, you know, it's no surprise that, you know, the town has such a great foundation of curling. And, you know, it's not hyperbole to say that the Nordens are a huge part of that. And they've done, as you said, just a phenomenal job this week. So Marianne Arsenault will make the hit and stick, and it'll be up to Kayla MacMillan to make the blank happen. So a bit of a cautious start from both teams, but that's to be expected with the layoff for Kayla MacMillan. We'll see if she can round it out here, looking for the blank in the first. The sweepers like it. Kayla likes it. No problem. We'll put a couple zeros on the board, and we'll see you back right after this. You're watching the BC Scotties live from Kamloops, BC. Hello, folks, and welcome back to continuing coverage of the BC Scotties Curling Championships here on Curl BC TV. John Cullen alongside Melissa Saligo for our first playoff game here at the BC Scotties. It's the 1-versus-2 game. Marianne Arsenault against Kayla MacMillan for the first berth in that BC Scotties final on Sunday. And Melissa, we saw a blank first end, and Marianne's putting this one in the house. Do we think Kayla's going to hit this one as well?
I think she is, but maybe she's not actually. Maybe she's going to throw the corner. And I was a little bit surprised actually by Marianne. I thought for sure she was going to throw a tight center and kind of force the issue right away. But I'm pretty sure that Sarah's throwing the guard here.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it.
All right, so we're underway. It's all about us, right, John? Trying to get lots of rocks and play and keep us entertained.
All about us. All about us. Yep, no question. And I think, you know, it was funny. I was talking to Kayla today, and it's a little unfortunate because we're commentating remote. And so, you know, normally when you're commentating, you get to be in the building, you chat to the curlers, you see you ask them what's going on, and you get the whole scoop on everything. And you and I are remote. So we're kind of trying to do our best to send texts and Instagram DMs and Twitter DMs and trying to get info. And Kayla sent me some info today, sort of just gently correcting me based on some info I gave the last time they played, which I'm only bringing up because it suggests to me that the teams are going back. Some of them are going back and watching their games, and maybe they're hearing us say, hey, look, let's spice it up a little bit. And they're doing it for us is what I'm saying, Melissa.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I mean, absolutely.
I
We're
mean,
likable people. Why not?
well, exactly. If you don't want to impress me and you, then why are you even curling, really?
That's right. So that rock just slipped into the top of the rings there, John, as you can see from Renee Simon. So a great chance here now for Sarah Loken to hit it and maybe roll towards her corner guard.
Well, she won't roll, but she does get that one off the forefoot, so pretty good result for Sarah Loken.
I think so too. You just see where that blue stone goes, just in behind the tee line there. It is half exposed maybe on the wide side.
And as you can hear, the ladies 3-4 game is also being contested here at the same time. Sarah Wark facing off against Corinne Brown. So if you're not familiar with the Page playoff system, the winner of this game will get a bye directly to Sunday's final. The loser will play the winner of Corinne Brown and Sarah Wark. And of course, the loser of the Corinne Brown-Sarah Wark game will enjoy their trip home. Well, they may not enjoy it, but
no, I don't think they're going to enjoy it. No.
But they're going to go home. That's where they're going. So we'll do our best to keep you updated on that game as well. And that one just slips a little deep for Sasha. So an opportunity here maybe for Kayla MacMillan.
Yeah, because that rock's just behind the button, there's obviously the straight freeze to it. But as soon as you do that, you cut the scoring area down right away, and you're still only on second shot. So this is a great call by Kayla MacMillan. Just T-line, back 8 weight, get a half of that, asking Lindsay to get half of that red stone, push it behind the corner guard, and roll her shooter far away to the other side. They may not even be first or second shot. They won't be first for sure, but they may not even be second shot. But the key here is to separate their rocks and get both of them on the rings.
They're going to need that one on the left to slow down.
Oh, boy.
And it won't. So just a little too much weight from Lindsay Dubé. And so unfortunately, she won't get both in the rings, and an opportunity here for Arsenault to lie 3. And it will sit right there. So it is Arsenault lying 3, but Melissa, none of the rocks really in a super dangerous position for Kayla.
No, not at all. I mean, you see 2 of them behind the tee line, and that's an advantage to Kayla. That one that was just thrown by Team Arsenault, not really a factor at this moment. So this is a really, really good opportunity for Lindsay now to freeze to that stone that's in behind the corner guard. Don't even have to freeze to it really. They just want to be about tee line and be shot or second shot rock. Trying to force the play away from the center line. Got to go for weight here, though, John, I think.
All the way. Yeah, exactly. Sweeper's pounding it. You want to make sure you're at least second shot here. And unfortunately, Jody Maskowicz, or sorry, I think Lindsay Dubé just pulling the string on that one. And so it is still Arsenault.
Yeah, that's a bit of a miss there for sure.
Line 2. Yeah, just maybe a case of, I mean, obviously, the sides may not know the draw weight fully yet, but Lindsay a little heavy on her first one, and sometimes that can get into your head, and you just want to overcorrect on the second, and that seemed to be maybe what happened there, just pulling the string.
So you saw Marianne having a good look, and her original gut feeling was to hit that stone just thrown by Lindsay and try and roll towards the center. But from the hack position, you can't see a lot of that rock, and I really, because it's third shot, I really don't think you need to play it. So they now had a quick discussion, and she's elected to throw the center guard, and I really, really like this call.
I guess the danger here, and maybe what Marianne was thinking, Melissa, you throw the center guard, maybe that opens up the door for Kayla MacMillan to throw a freeze.
Well, maybe, yeah. I mean, you want to put this maybe just top 12. You don't need to go very deep. Like, you don't want to go, I wouldn't think you want to go too much deeper than that. But the thing is that she has to make it, and the pressure's back on her. So I think Sasha may have been sweeping that in for third shot, pardon me. Which, you know, whether you do or not, it doesn't matter. I think Kayla's shot's going to be the same here. She's not going to be happy with that rock there. And the tighter it is, obviously the easier the double is. Not that a double is easy anytime.
So Jody Maskowicz looking for the double here.
Would love to catch that one on the back button. Oh,
They won't do that, but moving that red up is not bad at all. Yeah.
Not bad at all. I think it, I mean, Marianne didn't even look at it, but it looks like it's second shot.
It does look like second shot to me too. If I was Marianne, I might be taking a little closer look at that. But she's again choosing to ignore it. So Gina Schrader throwing up a guard.
So I think if you're Gina, you may want to be, you know, a couple feet lighter on this one. And if you're, you know, if you're even over an inch or so, just as you said, John, maybe preventing Kayla to having access to that one in the back button. So key here is not to over curl it. And this one's definitely lighter.
See, but this is the issue here. If MacMillan is second shot, she can actually, she doesn't even have to freeze here, right? Like she could just probably come around with hack and remove that blue stone and lie too.
Yeah, I am shocked. I got to be honest. I'm shocked that Marianne didn't even go and look at that, to be honest. And like you said, Kayla just pointed it out for us that red is second shot for sure. She tapped that rock. So this is a huge now turnaround for Jody Maskowicz to make a nice soft hack weight hit and roll over to the side. Potentially
so big opportunity here. Yeah, absolutely. Huge opportunity here for Jody Maskowicz and Kayla MacMillan. Got to get it by the guard though. Sarah Loken really working it. And that is all over that top guard. So maybe Marianne knows something we don't.
Almost pushed it in for a second. I don't think she did.
Yeah, it just looked like was tight out of her hand. They were sweeping it all the way. So
exactly,
yeah. Is, I still think it's red second shot, but
now that red is double guarded, so no access to that for sure.
Yeah, I just think if you're Marianne, you can't really throw a guard again, I don't think.
No. I kind of like
unless you're tight, unless you're really tight, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, Gina's indication was maybe to just draw in and sit top 4. You like that?
I don't mind that at all. Even top 8, just half buried. I don't mind that at all. Sometimes the best defense is offense. Yeah, right there. I like that a ton.
Yeah, I think that puts a lot of pressure on Kayla MacMillan, especially if you can get it sort of, we call it the Christmas tree effect, where you're sort of half underneath that red guard and half guarding the blue one in there for shot. That'd be a pretty good spot. So first rock here for Marianne Arsenault in the second end. Looking to apply some pressure to Kayla MacMillan without hammer. She's already sitting 1. Looking to make it 2. Sweeper's trying to bring this over.
Yeah, they'd love for this to be second shot, John. But plan B here would to throw the guard, but this is going to over curl. So it's kind of an in-betweener, I guess.
Yeah, I think the sweepers sort of knew they weren't going to be able to get it there, so they came off of it, but too little too late, and it over curls, and now Kayla MacMillan has a wide open hit to lie to. And she might even be able to get a little buried here, Melissa, and that would be real tricky for Marianne if she does that.
Yeah, there's a really good look at it, and you know, these are one of the situations where how much risk do you want to take just on this particular shot. So she can try and come with a soft weight, hit that blue stone and try and roll under, but it is maybe it's a little less than edge on edge, so that she could also roll to the 8-foot the other way into the open. But if she does that, she has to make sure she doesn't set her opposition up for a good hit and roll either. So I didn't see which way they want to roll, but number one job here obviously is to get rid of this blue stone.
This has to curl a lot.
Yeah, I think it was heavy out of her hand here. This is a lot more weight than I think she was expecting to throw. Wow.
And that is a complete miss from Kayla MacMillan. And Melissa, not to harp on it, but we did see this with Kayla MacMillan earlier in the week. When she's throwing hits, she has a tendency to overthrow them a little bit. And we saw that there.
Yeah, that was way too much weight for that shot. And the ice she gave herself, obviously. So I guess, John, I don't know, when you bench press 3 times your body weight, your legs are probably pretty solid. So I have been waiting to say that all week, like something to that effect. That girl is so fit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we talked about that last game. Sometimes her Instagram stories make me feel like not great about my own self.
Not great.
But,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So huge opportunity here for Marianne Arsenault. Get this one buried and put a ton of pressure on Kayla MacMillan.
Yeah, a little bit back and forth affair here. So if Marianne can get this in for second shot, and pretty much anywhere for second shot, as long as she doesn't set up a double, she'll be in very good shape. And this one looks a lot better. And it's going to be a great shot.
Very nice shot from Marianne Arsenault, and so it's going to be just a straight draw to the button here for Kayla MacMillan. Not easy, especially this early in the game.
This is pretty much a cold draw to the tee line, John, because you saw how the rocks are lined up there. You can't really tick off the top one unless you spin backwards. So this is a very delicate shot. Just straight draw to the tee line. That's what you have to think to yourself.
So final stone here for Kayla MacMillan in the second. Facing 2 and needs the pin.
You can hear Jody say lots of room, no backing.
Yeah, this looks like it's tracking.
It is too. It's got a curl. Ah, that's a great shot by Kayla MacMillan.
Very nice shot from Kayla MacMillan. The first sign of pressure, but she doesn't blink. She'll put one up on the board, but we'll see Marianne Arsenault with the hammer for the first time when we come back. You're watching the BC Scotties live on Curl BC TV. Hello, folks, and welcome back. Continuing coverage of the BC Scotties live here on Curl BC TV. John Cullen alongside Melissa Saligo. We're watching the ladies 1-2 page playoff game. Kayla MacMillan up 1-0 over Marianne Arsenault, but that was a hard-earned one for Kayla there, Melissa.
It really, really was. You know, she had an opportunity, as we know, on her first one to hit and lie to, and that was, you know, what we call a pretty easy shot, a straightforward shot, and unfortunately for Kayla, just a little heavy, and it tracked on her, and she flashed it. But make no mistake, what a good rebound for her to throw that perfect draw to the tee line to get her single against 2 points. That was a huge, huge confident booster for Kayla MacMillan.
Yeah, you have to think, obviously, a young skip here. She's just come up through the junior ranks and hasn't skipped in quite some time. And, you know, you have to think you missed that first one. For her to be able to refocus, reset, make a difficult shot facing two, that's got to do a lot for her confidence, but also for her team's confidence as well.
Most definitely, you know, absolutely such a great shot. That was a huge shot, as you say, John, for so many reasons.
So we're going to see some rocks in play here again as Sarah Loken throws up the center guard and Renee Simons will come around it into the top 8. Of course, we will have playoff action here all weekend. We'll be back with you live tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Pacific as we watch the men's 1-2 game, the Islanders. It's a rematch of the A final over on the men's side as well. They're going to be taking on Jeff Richard. So we'll have that game for you live at 9 a.m. Pacific tomorrow. And then starting at 2 p.m. tomorrow, we'll be live on cbcsports.ca and Check TV, bringing you all of the playoff action for the rest of the weekend. And of course, if you already have the Curl BC TV bookmarked, the games will all be streamed on here too. So it's really dealer's choice. Melissa and I will be wherever you need to be this weekend for your BC curling coverage.
Nice shot there by Sarah Loken. I actually think it hit the back side of that guard, John. It kind of misdirected a little bit, but ended up in a very, very good spot.
So we'll see if Renee can respond here.
Yeah, I would love to get this one in behind her first stone. It looks like you can see edge on edge. I don't think you can make a double here, but you could definitely hit the top one and maybe spring the second blue one out into the open a little.
Yeah, I think that's certainly what they're trying to do here.
Great shot.
Really nice shot from Lindsay Dubé.
You just look at that weight selection, and we've talked about that on and off throughout the week. You know, when you have this ice that's running so beautifully at 15 and a half seconds with some nice curl, if you throw that down weight, that nice control weight, you bring your sweepers into play every single time. And I think that's so very important to make the shots as best as you can.
Yeah, we've seen that all weekend. Certainly the teams that utilize and play that sort of board to control weight have had a lot of success. And we have seen, Melissa, even on draws, if you're even just, you know, 4 or 5 feet heavy on a draw, the rock path is just completely different. And so certainly on hits, that's magnified even more, which we sort of saw with Kayla's last end. She was just that little bit too heavy and never had a chance at making that hit. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on for these teams. And I think that the 8 teams left across the men's and women's sides of this provincial championship have shown that they have that ability to throw that controlled weight.
Exactly. So nice shot there by Sasha. Lindsay Dubé has an opportunity now. If she can just hit what she can see of that second blue stone and roll towards the center line.
Nice shot. Rolls maybe a little too far.
Yeah, just maybe pokes out a little too far, but a great shot.
So Sasha Carter just looking to hit here and hopefully not roll too far. Want a lie shot if they can.
Trying to make sure they don't tick off the top one. They got to get it by the first one. And that's the danger there. That was a difficult shot, actually. You could only see about 3/4, maybe half of that shot. And that's one of the dangers there is ticking off the top one.
So Jody Maskowicz just looking to hit here and lie two.
Is she hitting or drawing?
Oh, sorry, looks like she's drawing. Yeah. Yep.
Come on, John, stay with me.
I know, my apologies, my apologies.
It's only our third game of the day, come on.
Yeah, I know. I'm just a sad
You're
man.
having cookies again, aren't you?
I wish. That's my problem. I haven't had enough cookies.
Oh, you haven't had enough sugar.
Exactly. Jody comes a little heavy there, and the look on her face really tells it all. We were talking about that yesterday, calling the Jeff Richard game. Of course, the Richard team skipped by Brent Pierce, and really as a commentator, you don't have to say anything because whatever's happening is just written all over Brent's face. And I feel like we got a nice one from Jody there. We just really didn't even have to we didn't have to say anything. Her face told the whole story on that one. And so an opportunity here for Arsenault again after the miss from Sasha Carter. Gina Schrader won't make any mistake, and they're now lying one, I believe.
I think so. You know, and we've talked about this as well, and we'll continue to talk about the fact that when you're given an opportunity, as we, in the preliminary round, when you've given some opportunities, we saw quite a few opportunities go away, right? You didn't take advantage of them. I'm not talking about these two teams, but any teams. But that's the importance of this 1-2 game. And every game now that you're in the playoffs, you're going to get very few opportunities, and you have to make sure that you do your best to make the most of them. And that's just going back to that shot by Jody Maskowicz and unfortunately being heavy there. So lucky that Gina Richard didn't get the hit and roll. So just exchanging rocks at the moment.
Yeah, so it is still Kayla MacMillan lying two without hammer. Gina will likely be looking for the roll here.
Again, that nice controlled weight.
And there it is again. Great shot from Gina Schrader, making an almost perfect roll, although I think, yeah, they can see a good look there. Almost half of that stone. But the one thing that roll does, Melissa, is now even if Kayla makes this shot, there is a chance that she rolls closer to her red one and maybe gives Marianne an opportunity here.
That's right. There's not going to be a lot of room for error in terms of the roll. So, this is all about Kayla making sure she throws the right weight. She doesn't need to throw a lot of weight here, just enough to hit it and maybe roll a few feet to the right, I guess, as we're looking at from the house, or her left as the shore. As you say, John, or she really doesn't want to roll all the way over to her other red stone and group those together.
So first stone here for Kayla MacMillan in the third.
So Lindsay on it right away.
And she just throws that one a little tight, and That is very unfortunate timing, as now Marianne will just be able to hit that one in the wings and lie 3.
She looks perplexed.
She does.
The weight was good. It was about board weight. I assume that's what she was calling.
Yeah, that's kind of what we've been encouraging her to throw, to maybe bring her weight down a little bit, and then she does, and it over curls. So yeah, maybe just a little bit confused by that path. So Marianne was sort of debating, because I guess the thing here, Melissa, is if Marianne makes this and just noses and sits right there, Kayla will have an opportunity to hit and roll behind the guard, which Marianne seemed maybe a little concerned about. But I think this is the shot, really, right? I mean, you don't need to get too cute.
No, I don't think so either. It's only the third end, and the first time with Marianne having hammer, I don't see why you wouldn't just nose the shot. No point in taking any risk at this point, and not that it would be a risk to leave it by any means, but you might as well bring your third rock in play.
So looking for the nose here is Marianne Arsenault, and she'll get close enough. Rolls to the middle. So Kayla MacMillan left with a choice here, Melissa. She can either hit and roll behind that sort of de facto guard in the de facto corner guard, or she could play a nose double and concede the 2.
Well, yeah, this is about preference for sure. The nose double looks tempting for sure. If you do play the hit and roll, John, you have to be absolutely perfect with the roll, but number 2 is if you're not shot rock, it's a simple draw for 2. So I think either one is probably fine, but you want to make sure that you do not give any more than 2 here in this third end. So I'm looking at her playing the double. That would be my call. What I think she's throwing anyways.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's got
Lindsay
a curl
Dubé
though.
trying to bring it over. Yeah, that's got to curl a lot, and it will not. So a couple mistakes from Kayla MacMillan, and Marianne Arsenault will just need to hit paint for 3. So final stone, Marianne Arsenault just needs to touch the paint, and she'll put 3 up on the board. Absolutely nothing from the sweepers here, but I don't think they're in danger.
No, this looks really good.
Yeah, indeed they are not. So put them up on the board. That's 3 for Marianne Arsenault here in the third. She'll take a 3-1 lead over Kayla MacMillan, but MacMillan will have the hammer when we come back. You're watching the BC Scotties live from Kamloops, BC. Hello, folks, and welcome back to continuing coverage of the BC Scotties here on Curl BC TV. John Cullen alongside Melissa Saligo. And Melissa, not the end that Kayla MacMillan was dreaming of when that one got started, as Marianne Arsenault puts a 3 on the board, and not just a 3, but a relatively easy 3 as well.
Yeah, definitely an easy 3, and Kayla just seems to be struggling a little bit with where she's putting the broom and the kind of weight she's throwing for her hit. She made that perfect draw, obviously, in the end before that, right to the tee line to get her 1 against 2. So it's not that doesn't seem to be the problem. They're just having some struggles. Jody Maskowicz hitting a guard on a hit, and Kayla MacMillan as well. So now it's a matter of trying to find the right place to put the broom, the right weight to throw that matches that broom placement, and trying to make some shots that way. So you know that Kayla's going to try and mix it up here a little bit with the even end and having the hammer.
Yeah, I think for Kayla here, it'd be obviously they'll just be looking to do what you do with hammer and score 2, but even just to have a good end and sort of get some momentum in their corner, they haven't really been in control of any of these ends so far. So I'm sure that that's something they'd like to do and maybe get the Arsenault rink chasing a little bit.
Yeah, you got to try and change the momentum here as much as possible. You know, a 3-ender is huge in any game, but you know, in the 1-2 final or the 1-2 playoff game, it's even bigger, and you can get a lot of momentum and momentous energy from that. So it's up to Team MacMillan now to find a way to try and change that momentum.
So they'll see if they can start with Sarah Loken trying to come around the center guard here. This is way out there. Oh, sorry, there's a corner guard there. In fairness to me, I am colorblind, so sometimes I can't always see when they do the camera shot from the other end. I can't always tell which rocks are where, but great shot from Sarah Loken. Almost overburied it, and now there's a chance, I think, for Sasha to make a hit and roll here.
Yeah, you definitely can't see a lot of it, but you can see enough. We've seen this play numerous times on this sheet where you just throw that nice hack to board weight. And you can just pretty much hit what you can see and roll towards the middle. So Sasha Carter looking to do just that.
And Sasha will just get enough of it to hit it out of the rings. So nice touch from Sasha Carter after a great shot from Sarah Loken. And we'll see if Lindsay Dubé can repeat the feat here for Kayla MacMillan. Of course, this event taking place in the Kamloops Curling Club here in Kamloops, BC. And we want to shout out some of our local Kamloops sponsors. As we've talked about all week, just simply not possible to do these events without the support of local businesses in the community. So we're going to give a shout out here to City Center Auto Center and Redbeard. So thank you for your support of this event. And I bet it would be really fun to answer the phones at the City Center Auto Center. You get to say that all day. City Center Auto Center. Like, I would start making songs about it. Just rolls off the tongue real nice. So unfortunately,
now they're going to get you to do that.
Well, I mean, look, you know, if I'm available, my rates are quite low. Turns out being a curling commentator doesn't really do much for your rate. People are like, "Oh wow, you're a curling commentator? Geez, let me throw you a couple extra stacks." But City Center Auto Center, if you're listening, call my people.
Call your people. That's right.
So nice shot from Sasha Carter, but does slide a little deep. So a little opening here for Kayla MacMillan.
Yeah, we saw Lindsay on her first one trying to duplicate the shot by Sarah Loken, and she was just maybe a little light and hit off the guard. So, but still, I thought she was going to throw the freeze, but I kind of get this as well. It's getting pretty crowded out front there right now. So trying to remove this stone, and John, I do have to say, I need to give a huge shout out, and I not that I've been told to do this, but a huge shout out to our event managers, Will Sutton and Lindsay Shannon, who've just done an incredible job. I was supposed to be up there this week with them, and they've been doing the job of 3. So thank you to Lindsay and Will for all you've been doing for the event this week.
Yes, excellent job, Will, Lindsay. Shout out to you two. You're doing great, and maybe proving that, you know, speaking of rates, maybe Melissa's rate could be divided up amongst the two of you. I don't know, just spitballing.
John, do you have a mute button?
I do, but you can't access it. So.
I know, it's not fair.
So looking to replace the guard here is Gina Schrader. And she will do just that. I have to say, I was a little surprised that Kayla MacMillan didn't throw the freeze, and I'm still surprised she's not. I guess the concern there would be if you make the freeze and Marianne makes the freeze back, really difficult for you to score more than 1.
Yeah, I mean, that is the problem right now, but also the problem is there's 5 guards out front, and you can't remove everything or any of them, and I think you have to go on, sorry, I think you have to go on that came out wrong. But
no,
you have
that
to
came
go on
out
the offense,
perfectly.
John. Like, you have to go on the offense. You can't peel 5 guards. You can't, I mean, even if you're trying to peel 2, the opportunity was there. You're getting late in the end, and you really have to beat your opposition there. So I would have really liked to see Team MacMillan throw the freeze on that shot. Sorry.
Don't be sorry. I mean, it was perfect. you did great. You spitballed beautifully in the moment, and I loved every second. And this is kind of the danger, right? Because, you know, exactly what you said. You want to beat your opposition in there, and now with that big miss by Jody Maskowicz, Gina can just make an even better shot here, and now you're really in trouble to score.
Absolutely. Like, if she even puts it anywhere on the rings, really, as long as it doesn't overcurl too much and give Kayla an out here, which it may have just done that.
So a good look at it there. It is Arsenault lying 2. And a lot of detritus up front in the house here. I said that earlier this week, and someone really liked it, so I figured I'd say it again. So now Jody Maskowicz playing the freeze, and still an opportunity to get in there for shot stone.
Yeah, this is a huge shot now by Jody. Needs to get to the face of that blue Arsenault stone. There's probably not going to be a second chance, so this is your opportunity, and it's a beauty.
Absolutely great shot from Jody Maskowicz. She's had a couple misses, but bounces back beautifully there. Fantastic freeze, and now it's the MacMillan rink lying 1 with hammer, but you can see kind of exactly what I predicted. If Marianne can freeze on top of this one, it's going to be extremely difficult for Kayla to score more than 1.
I think you had to do that, though, John. I just really didn't see any other opportunity. And for one, I mean, obviously you want to score 2 points, but I think that was a big shot for Team MacMillan.
No question. You just would never want to give up a steal here if you're MacMillan. So, yeah, no, I think it's the right call for sure. And Simons and Carter have picked this one up right away. They seem to think it's quite light. And they're thinking correct, so they're just going to try to straight guard this.
And that works too, obviously. It goes out another rock's width, so it makes the draw much more difficult if Kayla were to take it on.
Yeah, just a bit of veteran savvy from the sweepers there, knowing that, you know, you don't need to try to pound it to make a shot that's not there. And if they kept sweeping it, the rock might over curl. So they come off of it at the right time and turn it into a usable guard. And so now Kayla kind of has to decide what she wants to do here. I mean, I don't know what I would do, but it seems like it's maybe a little early to be trying to run guards, but I don't know. I don't know what
Yeah,
else you would do. I don't know what else you do. So I think it's, yeah, maybe your only chance to get in here for a second point.
I don't know if there's any opportunity to throw a wide intern draw again, maybe get it to a position you could use it again. Obviously, I think if you did that, Marianne Arsenault will just step up and guard it. So, you know, it's probably not going to work. I don't think you can get in there past that guard that Marianne just threw to sit second, I don't think. Usually you want to save this angle run on your last. You don't really want to do it on your first, but you know, maybe that's all they have and maybe it's time. You just have to be careful because there is that blue stone just biting the top 12 as well. So you got to keep an eye on that. You don't want to double these out by any means. It'd be interesting to see what kind of weight she decides to throw here, John. I didn't really hear a weight call. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
think you
just
want to
based on
throw.
the broom. I was going to say I wouldn't want to overthrow this. Based on the
No.
broom, I'm guessing it's like a control type of weight.
You know, I don't even know if I would throw that, to be honest. I think I would throw less because even if you don't hit this perfectly, the key is you wanna keep both red stones in the rings. So if you even just hit it a certain way and push the blue one, there's a chance you can keep both red stones sitting shot and definitely outcount that other blue stone. So I wouldn't be throwing very much at this at all.
Well, it is about control, and it curls more than they anticipated, and so it is still Kayla MacMillan lying one here. Is Kayla still trying to find her way into this game a little bit here? And maybe we're seeing the effects of a day off, Melissa. Sometimes that can work to your detriment.
Yeah, that's always the discussion, isn't it? For sure, it's whether or not you get into that A final, you win the A final, you get the day off. Whether you get into the final, you get the day off, and it just all depends. And to me, depending on what happens in the games, like this game or the final game, is the discussion to have that. We have that discussion, but in all honesty, I really think it's about the preparation and what you do in the time that you do have off. And I like to say when I used to coach, I think it's important to mimic what you've been doing every day up until the point you got into that game. And so for a day off, I would make sure that the athletes did something in the morning. Obviously, they're not going to curl a game, but did something for a good hour physically, and then again at night, so that they're mimicking a two-game day. And that's kind of what my philosophy is on that.
Yeah, I think that's great advice as Marianne Arsenault just guards up these reds, and I think it's going to be pretty difficult for Kayla MacMillan to get a second point in here.
I do agree with you. You never want to hit a opposition stone if you don't have to, but I think that's what she's looking at.
I think the one thing that's working in Kayla's favor here is that the way that the red blue are welded and where the red is, I don't think you can, like, as long as as long as the rock coming back noses it, I don't know that you could ever make Arsenault shot.
I'm just trying to, I can't see in front of Jody there, so I assume she's crossing this blue one onto red
Onto
and
red, yeah, onto the
onto
back
red
one.
onto blue. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
there's a good look at it.
so yeah, no, it is off center enough that you could certainly give up a steal here if you hit this wrong. So
Yeah, this is a bit scary.
Well, Kayla MacMillan lying one. We'll see if she can find a little magic here to dial up a second point.
Just want to cross the face of this first blue stone ever so slightly. Probably 3/4 low side. This is close. She's got to go for get by.
It's really
She's close.
close.
Oh.
Good try. I don't even know
Yeah,
if it was
really good
there.
try. I'm
Really
not sure
difficult shot.
either.
Really difficult shot. Good try from Kayla MacMillan. So she will settle for the single here in the fourth. Marianne Arsenault will have the hammer and a 1-point lead in the fifth when we come back. You're watching the BC Scotties live on Curl BC TV. Welcome back to continuing coverage of the BC Scotties Championships. John Cullen alongside Melissa Saligo for this Page 1-2 game. Kayla MacMillan up against Marianne Arsenault, and it's been the Arsenault show so far as she leads 3-2 and has the hammer here playing the fifth.
Yeah, once again, Team Arsenault putting on a great display of performance here. They've been very consistent from everything that we've seen of them, John. And again, this evening, I guess we're in the evening here somewhere. This evening, they've been playing really well again and putting a lot of pressure on their opposition. And that's the difference right now. They have a little bit of momentum, but they're also making Kayla MacMillan have to throw those very, very difficult shots. And Kayla's going to have to find a way to try and turn that around.
Yeah, I think it's, safe to say watching the first four ends of this game, it's Arsenault not only making more shots, but leaving themselves simpler shots too. It seems like, Kayla MacMillan's had, especially herself, has had to make some really tough shots and, to try and get themselves in positions to score or to put pressure on Arsenault, whereas with Arsenault, they're getting everything set up and the shots haven't been particularly difficult. And I think that's always a sign that you're in control of the game when you're throwing the easier shots.
Exactly. I totally agree. So a bit of a miss there by Renee Simons coming up short. I think she really wanted that one in the ring. So an opportunity here now for Sarah Loken to try and bury this one behind the two guards. Looks like it's got to curl another couple of feet.
Nice shot there from Sarah. But it is, as you can see from that angle, open enough for Renee to play hack at it.
Just been given some quick numbers here, John, just some percentages, and it looks like Team Arsenault curling 88% versus 67% for Team MacMillan. So that's the difference as we see it right now, especially on the scoreboard. And that's the degree of difficulty we're seeing as well. And obviously the harder the shots, and it's either kind of a 0 or a 4. So it's makes a big difference.
Yeah, I'm not an expert. I'm not a numbers expert, but that does seem like a fairly big gap between those two teams. So we'll see if Kayla MacMillan can close that gap a little bit. And, maybe Melissa, a case here too of just, the experience on Arsenault's side. They've been in so many of these games and more high pressure games than this, Canadian Scotties finals and world finals and things like that. It's maybe something that Arsenault's been kind of leaning on so far as this younger MacMillan team is, still getting used to playing in these types of games.
Exactly. That's such a great point, John. And I really like what you said there. I like the fact that, Marianne is going to draw on all her past experience, as these three are as well. And I mean, Marianne hasn't been skipping, pardon me, for a very long time, but she's got a great coach in Jerry Richard. And I really, really have to say, I enjoy the way she's been calling the game. She's not afraid to pretty much do anything, and she loves to put the rocks in play, and she loves to make the hard shots. And she likes to put pressure on her opposition, and she's really good at doing that. So kudos to this team, Arsenault, and the way they've been playing thus far.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about this on the earlier draw today, but 26 provincial Scotties titles on the Arsenault side and 11 Canadian Scotties titles. So incredibly impressive. And you're talking about Marianne being a skip, I think, as we see an uncharacteristic miss there from Sasha Carter. So an opportunity here now maybe for Kayla MacMillan to put some pressure on. But just to get back to Marianne, you're talking about her skipping, and of course a lot of people know her as the second for Colleen Jones, and that's where she had a lot of her success. But she won 5 Nova Scotia Scotties titles as a skip. So it's, I think a lot of us don't realize it was that many, but
Wow, yes.
Colleen has sort of stepped back from the game and then came back for a little while and then stepped back again. And so Marianne's kind of been skipping on and off, and yeah, had 5 provincial titles as a skip, and as we know, just lost the Canadian Seniors final as a skip. So, I think we think in our mind, oh, she's a second and she's not really a skip, but she's been at it for quite a while and has had a lot of success.
Yeah, that's such a great reminder, actually. She has for sure, and it's just wonderful to watch her. So we saw the miss there by Sasha Carter. She was heavy on her first draw attempt, and then a light shot there by Lindsay Dubé. And now Sasha is going to follow up with another opportunity here to try and get in behind these corner guards. So both teams just struggling ever so slightly with the draw weight at the moment. Again, the brusher's not touching this one yet.
No, this one looks like it might also be a little bit overcooked.
Wow,
And
you
it
don't see that
is.
very often from Sasha Carter.
No, certainly not. And yeah, we watched them this morning, and so far through this game, she's been rock solid. So this is a theme we've been talking about all week, Melissa, taking advantage of your opportunities. And this is really the first time that Kayla MacMillan's had a great opportunity to put pressure on Marianne Arsenault. So we'll see if Jody Maskowicz can do it.
And you really have to bear down when these opportunities present themselves. And this is such a huge draw for Jody. She had the opportunity a couple of ends ago to put some pressure on her opposition by taking advantage of an opportunity, and she was unable to do that. So this one looks a lot better. She's going to be in front of the tee line, and they're just trying to fully bury this top 4 if they can get it there. What a great shot and great brushing.
Beautiful shot from Jody Maskowicz, and as you say, a great finish from Lindsay Dubé and Sarah Loken. And so now, for the first time, we see Marianne Arsenault under a little bit of pressure here. It's Kayla MacMillan lying 2 without hammer here in the 5th, and Marianne is forced to clean up some stuff in the front. And Gina will drive it by everything. So Kayla MacMillan looking very nice here in the 5th. Only 3 rocks to come for both sides.
Yeah, Gina was just trying to clip that other red stone that's just outside the rings in front of the blue one. So another opportunity here for Jody Maskowicz and her team. Again, the rock placement is so critical here. Knowing and understanding exactly where they want to put this stone. And you see where Kayla's broom is. She's almost on the center line, just slightly over, right in front of that red one. That's such a great shot.
Perfect
Well
spot
placed.
for Jody Maskowicz. So she's starting to find her way into this game. That's 3 great shots in a row. And so now if you're Marianne Arsenault, what do? This is, you can see Gina shaking her head. There is not a lot of joy here.
No, I agree, and I think Marianne stepped back into the rings to see if there was something they could do with a draw, but I agree with Gina. You got to run it one more time at least. You got to try and get you've got to try and get more than one of those rocks moving if you can out front.
So can Gina Schrader find it on this one? It looks a lot closer. She will, but still 2 guards in front and 2 MacMillan stones counting. And yeah, that didn't really improve the situation much at all.
No, it didn't, and I'm curious. They were playing for the nose hit, and I'm curious that they didn't hit it more of a very slight angle to try and get the rocks going in one direction and away from in front of those 2 stones. I was a little surprised at that. So Kayla MacMillan now in a really great position here to put a ton of pressure on her opposition. You can see, about half to 3/4 of that red shot stone, so she's going to guard it up. Right now, Marianne doesn't really have a lot of good going on for her right at the moment.
If you were Kayla, would you ever consider drawing here, Melissa, or you like the guard?
Well, you can see quite a bit of it, and I think that's what her concern is. If you draw, John, I guess you draw maybe top 8 half around, but I don't know if you want to bring the play in right now. I mean, on Kayla's first one, I don't mind this guard at all. I think you're going to force Team MacMillan to have to throw the draw themselves, and it's a very, very precise draw, although we've seen Marianne make them numerous times.
This looks a little tight, maybe. Might be trying to come off of one of these guards here.
Oh
they
boy.
missed that one, and so that is not going to get the job done, unfortunately, for Kayla MacMillan. So Marianne Arsenault will have an opportunity to come through the hole here.
Yeah, that really didn't accomplish anything, did it, John?
No, I don't believe it did. And so Marianne actually not even electing to throw that hit. She's going to try the draw now. And I don't mind the call, Melissa. The only scary thing here is if you ever come light, you are in huge trouble to score.
Yep, I would agree with that for sure. And, I'm a little surprised. I don't hate this call by any means from Marianne. I'm surprised she's not going for the one that she can see, at least to try and eliminate a stone. But I think she knows that Kayla's going to throw this on her next one, so she's trying to beat her to the punch.
So here we go. First stone for Marianne Arsenault, and the first real pressure we've seen her under so far in this game. Facing 2 Kayla MacMillan counters, and she's trying to draw the button here.
Brusher's trying to get this to the tee line. It looks a little bit light.
Yeah, that will come up short, and that shrinks her drawing area, and Kayla MacMillan still lying too. So a huge turn of events in this 5th end. Kayla MacMillan with an opportunity here to really put the squeeze on Marianne Arsenault. She guarding or drawing here?
I feel like she's guarding.
I'd be tempted to draw.
I would I would be too, and
because even if you come up short, you tick that blue one and you roll open, you're still guarding everything. So
exactly.
Maybe she is throwing the draw. We don't know for sure, but that's where I'd be at, I think. But in any case, Kayla MacMillan's got to love the situation. Lying 2 without hammer.
Yeah, tolerance here is tee or short. You just don't want to be heavy on this. So this is all up to the brushers.
I think they're just
got
guarding.
That one out a bit, I think. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, just a guard here, trying to take away Marianne's draw path.
That's a great shot.
Yeah, good shot from Kayla MacMillan. And so Marianne now, geez, I guess you're throwing that out turn hit to only give up one, probably. Oh, she's going to try to draw around
Oh, you're
everything.
not.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I think it is there, that MacMillan guard just a little bit high.
Yeah, and one of the things I always say, and I feel like I put my coach hat on a couple times today,
Good.
but one of the things I always say is when you're throwing a guard like that, and you can be pretty much anywhere on the draw path on that side, take extra ice. Just take a bunch of extra ice and let your sweepers finish it for you. And for that one, like you say, that over curled, it's in a good spot, but it did over curl, and it is giving that slight opportunity here for Marianne to make this. But if you want to completely take it away from her, then you need to have another rocked width out from where it is right now. Not that I'm
So
picky.
Marianne needs to find the button, and this looks like it is hanging. And I don't think that is going to slow down. Will it slow down? Will it slow down?
What
It
a
will
great
enough.
try.
Great try from Marianne Arsenault. She will cut the steal down to 1. So we've got a tie game. How about that? A 1 versus 2 tie heading into the 5th end break. We're going to take a 3-minute break ourselves, and we'll be back with the second half of this Page 1 versus 2 game. You're watching Arsenault MacMillan here live on Curl BC TV. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It is the fifth end break here in the ladies' page playoff here. I keep saying ladies because the men's is happening at the same time, and I get confused. In any case, it's the BC Scotties. It's the 1-versus-2 game. Melissa, we're watching Marianne Arsenault face off against Kayla MacMillan, and for the first four ends, it was all one-way traffic. Arsenault in control, and just has to be a really good confidence boost for Team MacMillan to have that excellent fifth end, get the steal of one, get the game tied. What's that going to do for them going forward in the rest of the game?
Oh, I can guarantee you that's going to give them lots of confidence, and they've had now a chance to talk to their coach, Katie Witt, and it's all about, I think Kayla herself's been struggling a little bit, especially on the hits. So to have the whole team put an end together like that, I think it's so great, and I think that will really build their confidence not only for Kayla but for the team, and they're going to really you'll start seeing their energy levels go up a little bit now.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think, like we said, it could be a matter of experience, could be a matter of the day off, but whatever it was, it does seem like Kayla MacMillan needs to kind of work her way back into the game. And we talked before the game about how Gina Schrader has been a huge key for Marianne Arsenault, but we saw there in the fourth and in the fifth end, Jody Maskowicz responsible for putting all the points on the board for Team MacMillan. Is that something to watch in the second half of the game, sort of the battle of the thirds here?
Yeah, and I think we mentioned that before too, John, is that we know that Gina Schrader always brings her best to the table. And in the game we saw before, Jody maybe not playing where she wants to play, but for her to come out and support her team and support her third and make those kinds of shots, she's a competitor and she's gonna really try and out curl her opponent in Gina Schrader. So it's good to see, and it's good to see Jody putting some really great shots together.
So we are all teed up here for the sixth end. It is 3-3. Only difference from the start of the game is Marianne Arsenault has the hammer and not Kayla MacMillan. But in any case, it is now a five-end battle for that all-important spot in the final. And speaking of the playoffs, of course, we do have another game happening at the same time. Corinne Brown up against Sarah Wark. Sarah Wark did have a 2-1 lead heading into the fifth, and I think they've just finished the fifth end, so I'll wait to hear what the score is there, and we'll give you that update as they're in their fifth end break right now. But of course, the winner of this game will get a bye directly to Sunday's final. The loser will play the winner of the Brown-Wark game. So lots at stake here, and I'm ready for an exciting second half.
Just a quick update on the stats. You would think that the stats have really changed quite a bit, but they actually haven't. Team Arsenault still out curling the overall team percentage of Team MacMillan by about 18 or 19%. So still being out curled, but it's now about, in the last half of the game, it's about when you make the right shots, right? It's not about curling 100%. Obviously, we all want to do that, but it's about making the right shots at the right time, and that's what Team MacMillan is going to have to do if they're going to defeat this very, very tough Team Arsenault.
Yeah, stats don't always tell the whole story, but in this case, they were telling the story. It felt like a pretty dominant, at least second to fourth end from Arsenault. Of course, they blanked the first end, but yeah, obviously MacMillan rounding into the game a little bit here. Sarah Loken would love for this rock to slow down.
And you can see Sarah there with a little head shake, not overly happy with that result.
Yeah, just that's the kind of standard that Sarah sets for herself. I was lucky enough to play with her and Sarah Daniels and Braden Carpenter, three excellent young players. No idea what they were doing slumming around with me, but we played
Yeah,
together.
really? I mean, what?
I know, crazy. we played together in the 2019 mixed and made it all the way to the provincial final, and I got a firsthand look at just how good of a player Sarah is. She's so consistent, and she just loves to curl. She's always out there, just what we call a rink rat. She loves to practice and loves to play, and just has really high standards for herself. So even just that rock slipping 2 feet deep is cause for her to shake her own head and think, oh geez, I got to do better than that. And that's really what what makes players great. And I definitely see that in her. So
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Sarah has worked so hard over the last number of years with all parts of her game, and she is extremely fit as well, and that is so important for this team. They've been really working hard on that fitness, and so and you can see it in her sweeping. That's really improved over the last number of years as well. So a great shot there by Lindsay Dubé, and nice sweeping by Jody and Sarah.
So once again, the pressure on Arsenault here, and we were talking about simple shots. And last end we saw Kayla MacMillan making mostly simple shots, guards and draws, and Team Arsenault, Gina Schrader having to make triple run backs, and Marianne Arsenault having to draw the side button. And we're seeing that again here. Just simpler shots for Team MacMillan, getting their rocks in the right spots, and now it's on Team Arsenault to have to chase.
Looks like she's on the guard.
So it's been a bit of a struggle here for Sasha in the last couple ends. She was heavy on both her draws last end and gets that one going a little bit. So again, an opportunity here for MacMillan to continue to apply the pressure without hammer.
John, there looks like there's an update from the other sheet as well. Teamwork getting 2 in the 5th end, so they now have a 4-1 lead after 5 ends of play.
So we'll try to keep you updated on that one as we go. Corinne Brown will have hammer when they get going again in the 6th. This looks a little heavy. They don't want to touch it here.
No, they really want to keep this one out. Trying just to get that last little bit of curl.
Yeah, not a bad spot there for Lindsay Dubé. A little further in than they would have wanted, but
I think so.
Bad,
I think they really wanted that out about another 4 feet would have been great.
So we get a look at that scoreboard over there. Some people asking us about the scoreboard. I don't know, do people in other provinces have different scoreboards? I feel like I've curled in almost every province and I see the same scoreboard, but for those of you who are seeing the scoreboards in the back and you're a little confused, the middle number is the score. The red number is the total number of points, and the black numbers are the ends. So the teams will put the ends above the numbers, and that indicates what points they scored in which end. So in the 5th end, Sarah Wark got to that 4th point, and in the 4th end, Corinne Brown would have scored her 1. So that's how you read the scoreboard. Red numbers are the score, black numbers are the ends. There you go. Now it's all done. If anyone asks me again, I will refer you to the timestamp on this game.
Yeah, I was wondering that too. I guess we're kind of just used to these scoreboards. I guess the other type of scoreboard is the baseball scoreboard where you put the 2 numbers up for the score. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like I don't really see that in clubs, but maybe if you don't curl really in a club and you just watch on TV and you only ever see the baseball score, could be. I don't know, but in any case, that's how it's done. The one thing that always got me, did you ever curl in a curling club that had mirrors, Melissa, where they have the mirrors over the house?
I did.
Yeah, those ones always sketched me out. Yeah, no, you don't see those in BC. It's more of an Ontario, and it seems to be a European thing as well.
Yes.
But they have the mirror above the house, so from the other end, the idea is that you can see where the rocks are in the house, I guess. But I mean, it doesn't really work. I don't know. It's not really. It's not for me.
It's kind of scary more than anything.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the house of mirrors.
Yes, totally. And speaking of scary, it's starting to get a little scary here for Marianne Arsenault. Gina Schrader has to get through this port, and she won't. So it continues to be Kayla MacMillan lying 2.
And they got away with one there. I have to tell you, John, Team MacMillan, that rock of Jody's was a rock too far on the center line. So there was a hole there that Gina was trying to get through. And unfortunately for her, just clips that center guard. So again, it's all about rock placement and being very, very careful as to where you put your rocks. But this is a lot less ice. Is she playing the bump now? Did I see that? And not the guard?
I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
I didn't see it either. Well, it happened very quickly. So this is the perils of not having the players mic'd up. But yeah,
again, We didn't get the
Yeah,
memo, so no one
yeah.
gave us the memo on this, but
I
it looks
think
like
it's a
she
guard.
maybe called the bump. Oh, okay.
Okay. No, you're
We're
right.
at odds.
God,
It's our first at odd.
I know we've been in sync all week. Okay, so you were right the whole time. It was the call was the bump, and doesn't roll to a bad spot. That's not the easiest double on earth to stick around.
And in all honesty, I'm not sure why they actually didn't call the guard again. I don't think they were sitting so good. I don't know if he really wanted to bring the play into the house just yet. I think I would have liked to have seen Jody Maskowitz throw one more draw, or sorry, one more guard. Now this sets Gina Schrader up here for a potential double.
And she won't make the double, but will get rid of that rock that was in the top 8 foot. So that might help, but it is still Kayla MacMillan lying 2 without hammer.
So John, obviously you and I have not played at the Vancouver Curling Club in a long time because they do have the baseball style electronic scoreboards. Very fancy.
Yes, they do, and I should know that because that's technically my home club, although I haven't played in
Oh
a couple
dear.
years. But yeah, they do have and it's electronic too. It's got the little
That's cool.
console behind the sheet, so you go in and you get to punch it in like a computer. So here we go, Kayla MacMillan, her first stone in the 6th, looking to draw in around a pile and lie 3 without hammer.
Okay, you hear that number 7? That is T-line weight for those that use the system, the 10 zone system. So Sarah letting Jody know that it's a 7, so it's already T on its own. Ideally,
Yeah, they don't want this to
is
be
going to
back.
be, no, they really don't. This is going to be an out for Team Arsenault.
So yeah,
That needs
it's
to be
always
about 3 feet shorter.
Yeah, we always say hindsight's 20/20, but I do sort of agree. The guards were working really well for them. I'm not quite sure why they went away from that on Jody Maskowicz's shot, and unfortunately, Kayla comes just a smidge deep there. So, like you say, an out for Arsenault, and if she can freeze on top of this, 2 is actually not out of the question. So,
yeah, that's right. And I like how you said that, John. Like I don't know why you'd get away from something that was working, and again, hindsight, but you know, that's done now. So this is a great opportunity for Marianne to put one right on the face of that red stone throw by Kayla MacMillan and try and get this end back here late. And as you say, the 2 is on the table at the moment.
stone looks pretty good. Sweepers seem to like it. Might be a little heavy, though.
She's
Gonna
got
need
her
that
backing.
Yep. And she's gonna need it, as it is just a little bit heavy. And so another opportunity here for Kayla MacMillan. If she could ever hit this one and get inside of it, she'd be lying 4 without hammer.
What a massive opportunity here for Kayla MacMillan. Not an easy shot by any means, but Jody's hitting her hip, so I'm going to guess that she's throwing bumper weight.
Yeah,
Trying
looks
to
like
get
she
to
can
the
see almost all
nose.
of it.
Yeah, nose or just slightly to the inside would be ideal. And then Marianne Arsenault would be in a huge heap of trouble.
Yeah, she'd have to be cold drawing the button if Kayla can make that. So final stone here for Kayla MacMillan, and another opportunity to put the screws to Marianne Arsenault.
And again, you're not going to get a lot of opportunities like this specific one here. This is a chance for Kayla MacMillan.
Sarah Lokens picked this up right away. Can they get it by that guard? They do. Will they be able to hold it there?
What a brush. Wow.
They won't quite be able to hold it, but it does not rack the guard, so it is Kayla MacMillan lying 4. And a little bit of an exhale of relief there. A great sweep from Sarah Loken. So unfortunately for Kayla, she rolls just a little bit too far. So even though Kayla is sitting 4, Marianne will basically have just the same shot she did. A little draw to some backing here.
Yeah, exactly the same shot as her previous one. Just give it to the brushers.
So final stone, Marianne Arsenault lying 4. Sorry, facing 4. And the sweepers are on this right away. She had backing. She cannot afford to be light.
Going.
Cannot afford to be light here.
Oh, looks good.
And
great
smart
shot.
Call from the sweepers to be on it right away as they do get it there. So Marianne Arsenault pulls her team out of the fire, manages to pick up 1, but Kayla MacMillan will have the hammer, only down 1 in the 7th when we come back. You're watching the BC Scotties live on Curl BC TV. So welcome back here to the continuing coverage of the BC Scotties live here on Curl BC TV. John Cullen alongside Melissa Saligo as we watch this 1 versus 2 game. The Page playoff opener here between Kayla MacMillan and Marianne Arsenault. The winner of this game will get a bye to the BC Scotties final on Sunday. And Melissa, it was looking like Marianne Arsenault was the favorite to get that bye, but Kayla MacMillan has really poured it on in the last few ends.
Oh, has she ever? And we mentioned that after that 5th end that she would get some energy, get a little bit momentum, and that's exactly what Kayla's done. She almost makes a perfect shot on her last one to put some more pressure on Marianne Arsenault. Of course, Marianne had to draw against 4, but if she could ever have left her shooter at the top of the 4, it would have made Marianne's draw that much more difficult. But Marianne comes back with a cold draw against 4, and the sweepers were on it right away and makes no mistake. So that's the experience of Marianne Arsenault.
Yes, a fantastic shot from the veteran, and Sarah Loken will slide this one into the house. So decision here for Marianne. She's electing to hit it. I thought she might still guard, just given the scoreboard here. It's the 7th end. You'd maybe want to force Kayla to score 1 here, but maybe she figures she can do that if she just lies 2 for the entire end.
Yeah, I guess that's another way to do it for sure. She'd love to give up 1 or force to 1 here and get hammer back in 8 with an even score. There's a nice shot by Renee.
Yeah, really good from Renee there. So this will open up the double here for Sarah Loken. And Sarah makes no mistake. Puts up a double for the culture. Beautifully done. And so I don't know, though. Maybe she didn't quite get that blue one out at the back of the house. I thought she
Yeah,
did.
from that angle, it looks in, but we'll give it to her. She's a lead, and she's, you're the lead, and we'll give her 4 points.
All right.
Right,
Deal.
Johnny?
Always. Yep. In my mind, every lead plays 100.
That's not what your old Skip used to say. Just kidding.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I'm just
Okay. I see how we do it now.
It's hard to tell if that one's in. Again, we're not exactly over the button, so.
Yeah, we can never tell exactly, but it does look like they're just going to try and freeze down to it and maybe force a mistake out of Arsenault. So a bit of an open end looking like it's shaping up to be here in contrast to the last few. This is cooking. Gonna need it to come down here.
Or at least touch that back one.
Yeah.
Oh boy, nope.
It's not gonna do either of those, so if that one is on the rings, that's a huge opportunity here for Marianne Arsenault to get a force. And, I again, we can't tell if it's on the rings or not, and maybe Kayla is certain that it's out, but I wouldn't have hated a hit there.
No, and based on what Marianne's calling here, a draw to the other side, I'm guessing that it is on, actually. And if it is on, I don't know, Kayla maybe would rethink that shot, but I guess it's early enough that she was going to try and generate it to a different way. But this one has some legs as well.
Yeah, this is a few in a row for Sasha Carter where she's come heavy on her draws. But it will stop in time, so you can see maybe Sasha a little frustrated there. Yeah,
she's taking some deep breaths. That's good.
Yeah, that's usually where I would be swearing, so I'm proud of her restraint, and I'm again a little curious here. I mean, maybe that rock is on the rings, so that's why they're trying a freeze here, but I might have been hitting and rolling and trying to maybe group those blues for a future double.
I think so too. I don't think you need to go all out here in this seventh end, down one with hammer. If I think I was Kayla, I would be pretty happy to blanket and take hammer into 8, but they seem to be wanting to push the envelope a little here in this seventh end, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, well, certainly now with that slight miss from Lindsay Dubé, and Marianne will certainly be lying too if she makes this properly. But yeah, I agree, Melissa. We talk so much about managing the scoreboard, and Marianne just, kind of immediately allowing Kayla the opportunity to blank, and Kayla not taking it seemed a little interesting to me. I would have thought that Kayla would have taken that blank all day, but some teams don't necessarily play those. Some teams don't necessarily play the scoreboard in the sort of the modern way that we think about it, Melissa. I know, obviously, curling analytics becoming a much bigger part of the game, but some teams still sort of stick to the theory that whenever you have the hammer, you try to score points, and if that's what works for a team, then that's what works for a team.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I also think I've been around the analytics a lot now, and I think that, they've got a huge data sample to say otherwise, and I think that you've got some opportunities here. If you have an opportunity for a blank, why not? And not only does a blank gives you a blank, but gives you hammer in the next end, but it also maybe saves you some time. I don't know what the clocks are right now, but it's always nice to bank a little time if you're feeling like you need a break or whatever. But we're not out there. There's a good look at the clocks, but
still quite a bit of time left. Yeah, quite a bit of time left for both teams. So That doesn't seem to be a huge factor, but we'll see if Gina Schrader can stick this and help Arsenault lie two. And it will just roll a little far, so now I do wonder if Kayla's going to continue trying to freeze here or if they just hit it.
Well,
so it must
yeah,
be that other rock is on, right? Like they're trying to get Marianne to have to double them out, and then they can hit the open one. I guess. I don't know.
I guess. But even, you know, what we've seen thus far is Gina and I think Sasha. Gina for sure had 2 hit and roll outs. So if you hit and stick and Marianne hits and rolls out, then your blank's back on. And I'm just not sure this. I mean, again, we talk about degree of difficulty. The freeze is a lot more difficult than an open hit, for sure.
Oh, especially when it's in the back of the house like that. So, and again, they're getting close on these. Lindsay Dubé and Jody Maskowicz both getting decently close to making the freeze. But, you know, yeah, when the rock is that far back in the house, I mean, you have to freeze right on the nose in order to have any impact. So, yeah, it's I don't know, a bit of an interesting strategy here, but we're in the commentary booth and they're on the ice. Right. So,
you know, I think for Marianne too, she could actually even, I don't know what she specifically looked at, but she could actually cross this one, punch the redstone out and roll her shooter over to guarantee well, not guarantee, but almost guarantee the force. I don't think she's playing it that way, but.
Yeah, that's just, you get a little dangerous there. You ever hang it and you jam, then you're giving up 2, so. But we'll see what happens here. Marianne looking for a chance to potentially lie 2 or maybe 3 without hammer here. We don't exactly know, but they're calling Sasha on this.
Oh, that's a great shot. Wow.
Well, now there is certainly no debate. Marianne is laying at least 2, and now the force is certainly on.
I think there was some excitement on the other sheet as well. We just don't know what, so we'll update you as soon as we can.
So Kayla MacMillan attempting a freeze here. They haven't yet been able to make one this end, but if she can make one here, may be able to help her team get set up for 2.
I'm going to throw another theory at you, John.
Okay.
You ready?
Okay, I'm ready. So I love a good theory.
This is my theory. So obviously Kayla was going for a safe 2, you know, trying to freeze to those rocks that are back 12. If she's forced to 1, they have been very solid when they've been trying to steal. So maybe she feels like she's more of a steal team, and that's why she would be okay with being forced to 1. I don't know if that's the theory, but that's what I'm going with at the moment. What do you think?
If that's the theory, that's crazy theory. If that's what
it could be right
thinking,
though, right?
But it could be right. I know that sometimes, you know, we've talked about that playing games, and you talk about, oh, we just got to get rid of the hammer. Sometimes the hammer can be a bit of a curse, and so yeah, you could be right. They definitely seem to be very comfortable without hammer. So maybe their thought was, we just try to get 2 no matter what, and if we get forced, we get forced. But that would certainly buck the conventional trend if that is their way of approaching it. So Marianne Arsenault just looking to make this red go away. And she will, but she rolls out. And so now we're really going to have to see if this blue rock is on. I guess they absolutely believe it is.
I guess it is.
So Kayla drawing here. And yeah, that's a good look there. That does look like it's on, doesn't it?
I think so.
I mean, both teams acted like it was, so, you know.
We can safely say it's on.
Yeah. So Kayla looking for a draw here for one. Final stone here in the 7th. So final stone needs a piece of the 8-foot facing 2.
They haven't lifted their brooms yet. You heard the words, you can't hurt it.
Yeah,
and that
great
looks
sweep.
fantastic.
Great throw from Kayla. So maybe a bit of an unconventional end, but Kayla MacMillan in the end will get her one, and she will tie this game. Marianne Arsenault will have the hammer when we come back. You're watching the BC Scotties live on Curl BC TV. Welcome back as we get a look at snowy Kamloops, British Columbia, home of the 2022 BC Scotties, live from the Kamloops Curling Club. John Cullen alongside Melissa Saligo as we take in this 1 versus 2 game here between Marianne Arsenault and Kayla MacMillan. And Melissa, we talked a lot about Kayla's strategy in the 8th end and whether or not we agree with it. She still got her one, and so it's a tie game now, but you have to think that Marianne Arsenault is pretty thrilled with how that went. She's now got the hammer in the 8th in a tie game.
Well, I think most people would be very happy to have the hammer in the 8th in a tie game. And, you know, we did question it, and maybe one day I'll have to ask Kayla about it. And, you know, she'll hear us talking about it probably on this broadcast. But I'm just not really clear as to why. I mean, it's okay to maybe try early in the end to set up your deuce, but once things weren't going for you, maybe find a way to keep that blank alive. So this is something we've seen before, John, when the center guard goes up with what we're going to call the control position for Team Arsenault. They're in a control position with that hammer, just throwing it to the open side, and now Kayla has to decide what she's going to do. And it looks like she's going to ignore it.
Yeah, again, a little bit of unconventional strategy. Usually in a tie game, you wouldn't see a team draw the open side there. You'd see them either throw a corner guard or come around the center. So certainly a notable strategy from Marianne and something different. And like you said, we saw her do it earlier today in the B final against Diane Gushalak. But in that game, she had a 2-point lead. So a little bit curious as well, but we'll see if it works out for her. Maybe she's just hoping to blank the next 2 ends and get into the 10th in a tied situation. And just to update you on the other game, you had talked earlier about a commotion, Melissa. I don't know if the commotion was just the sound of the people of Kamloops rallying behind their team, but Corinne Brown pulled 2 back in the 6th end, so it's now a 4-3 lead for Sarah Wark. Sarah Wark has hammer, and they're playing the 7th. And we see a nice shot there from Renee Simons.
So Sarah Loken came ever so deep on her second stone, just back button, followed up by a great shot by Renee. So Lindsay Dubé now has to follow Renee's rock down. Would love to get to the kind of a corner freeze I'm not sure if they're playing the tap yet or they're just going to play the freeze.
I think the freeze was the call.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
This one's got some curling to do.
It's got some slowing down to do as well. Nice shot there. Yep. Very nice from Lindsay Dubé. And so, yeah, Marianne peeling the center guard here. So, does seem like she's happy to keep this end a little bit cleaner and maybe keep the blank alive, Melissa.
Yeah, I think she's very content to do that. And, you know, I'm maybe a little bit surprised. I think in the 8th end, you try to go for your cautious too. And if you don't get it, you know, try and play it in such a way that you may have a blank attempt. But, you know, you don't want to be allowing yourself to get forced if you can help it. But she's very, very content, as we can tell here, just playing it relatively open defense, and she'd be happy to blank this end. I think Kayla MacMillan's going to have something to say about that for sure.
Yeah, it's set up pretty nice for MacMillan right now, especially if Lindsay Dubé can replace that guard. She's not shot, but she's got one right in front of the shot stone and one right behind it.
Trying to get this one to curl ever so slightly, and that looks really good.
Yeah, very nice shot from Lindsay Dubé. We were talking about those percentages earlier, Melissa, and we can tell that obviously the game's getting a little bit closer as I've gotten an updated stat percentage from our man Will Sutton. And currently after 6 ends, Marianne Arsenault's team percentage dipped to 75% and Kayla MacMillan's went up to 71. So that's team percentages. So not surprising that that's when we started to see the scoreboard balance out a little bit too.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Oh.
Just making that and just missing their own.
Exactly.
So Kayla will have Jody just replace that guard.
And maybe a foot or two lighter too, John. You saw what Marianne was trying to play there. She would love to have hit and rolled that onto the ring. So I don't think Team MacMillan needs to play this one as tight to the rings.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure they would love it to be about 3 or 4 feet shorter. And that's where the sweepers are indicating it is right now.
This one's got to curl a little bit more. Nice.
And it will. Good shot from Jody Maskowicz. Looks like Marianne just happy to keep peeling here. So as we said, the winner of this game does move on to Sunday's final. The loser will drop to the tournament semifinal against the winner of Sarah Wark and Corinne Brown. We'll have all the coverage for you this weekend. Tomorrow morning, we'll be streaming on Curl BC TV, the 9 a.m. draw. We'll have the men's 1 versus 2 game for you, the Islanders against Jeff Richard. And then starting tomorrow afternoon, all the draws will be available on cbcsports.ca if you're streaming, as well as Check TV if you're wanting to watch the game on your traditional set on the couch. So you'll have some options. And Melissa and I will be here on the call with all the action all weekend. It's going to be a great playoffs. And we're looking forward to having you join us for those games and seeing who's going to represent BC, both at the Scotties in Thunder Bay coming up later this month and at the Briar in Lethbridge in March. And they will replace the guard, but like you said, Melissa, a little close to the house. Might be an opportunity here for Marianne to roll another point on. Oh, she's looking like maybe she wants to run this straight back.
Yeah, she's probably thinking you're not going to get too many more chances like this This is Gina Schrader's second stone. So if you just hit this just broom side, she might be able to double those without touching her blue shot stone. I think that's what she's looking at right now. Probably have the right person throwing it at the moment.
Absolutely, yep. So Gina Schrader looking for a run back double. And it looks like they overswept it a little bit.
They did.
And it'll run right by. So it's still Arsenault sitting the one, but surrounded by some MacMillan stones. We'll see if Kayla decides to play into the house here.
So Jody and Kayla have to decide what their end plan is here. They don't have hammer, of course, in this 8th end. What's the end plan? Is it to try and steal? You maybe put up another guard and have Marianne peel it and then make a play on your last one? Or do you just simply force? Right now, the force looks really good from my perspective for Team MacMillan to force Arsenault to a single.
Yeah, I like that too.
I'm assuming that she called the guard again. I didn't really see. They kind of talked about, you know, moving some rocks in the rings, but yeah, I think I just heard her mouth guard.
Yeah, I think they are calling the guard here. So looking to continue on the path, guarding here.
I think they got to go hard on this. It's got a long way to go.
Yeah, it's certainly a different path than we saw Jody Maskowicz take. So they're really going to have to bring this over. Lindsay Dubé trying. I think they got it over enough, but it's maybe a little too high. And so Marianne Arsenault like here will.
You can see about half, I think, John.
Yeah, you're right. You can definitely see quite a bit of it. And so that's the danger in throwing the guard there. And now Marianne will have a chance to hit that lie too. And Kayla's going to have a real hard time getting those out of there. As Marianne lines this up, I can tell you Sarah Wark pulled off a single in the 7th end, so Corinne Brown will get the hammer back in the 8th, but she's down 2, 5-3. So we'll keep an eye on that one. And of course, that game is streaming right now too on Curl BC TV. So if you're, like I say, a sicko like me, a big curling fan, and you want to watch both games at the same time, you can click around to Curl BC TV and have both games open. So Marianne Arsenault, big shot here. Has a chance to lie too.
She looked like she was really soft.
Yeah, they called on it out of her hand.
Yeah, she was really soft. I thought she'd maybe throw a bit more weight than that.
Yeah, me too. And now it's Kayla MacMillan, I think, lying 1.
I think so.
Yeah, she was a little light and it looked a little tight. And she ends up promoting the MacMillan stone, and you get a good look at it there. No question, MacMillan is the shot rock. So what a turn of events. It feels like every end is like a roller coaster here. I'm not sure if I'm strapped in, but it's kind of what it feels like. But maybe that's just because this is our 3rd game of the day.
I'm pretty much glued to my chair just simply because I'm so tired I can't get up. So you can see the discussion going on here, John, and it's simply talking about there's a couple of blue stones around the outside of the rings, you know, top 12 rocks that Marianne could potentially use to you know, in-offs to get that red stone out. So they're just trying to decide where the best place well, they talked about putting the guard, but now are they actually maybe talking about picking this one out? I think the blue is third shot.
Yeah, I think I'm not in love with this.
No, I'm not either. Simply
Because I
because
think
Marian
you
actually
pick it out,
just
Marian
threw
could
that.
still get 2, and she just threw it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't like the shot at all, to be honest. I think why not put the pressure on? You'd love to steal here. And we just saw what Marianne did on her first one. She came around that long center guard and tapped, and she could potentially do that on her last. So interesting call here. I think she could throw a guard up and let Marianne throw an in off.
Yeah,
I get
absolutely. I
it
think
though.
this is. Yeah, no, I get it
Yeah,
too. I understand you get scared of giving up a big number, especially in the 8th. But yeah, an interesting call here from Kayla. We'll see if it pays off. Certainly, task number 1 is making the shot.
just looking to pick it. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Well, she picked it.
Wow, she picked it all right.
Yeah, not by much, but if you can throw the big weight, you don't have to hit a lot of it. And Kayla throws the big weight quite well, so a nice shot. But yeah, Marianne will have. I mean, she has an in-off for 2, no question, if she
Right.
wants it. I think maybe part of the thought process here for Kayla, and it's the same thing she likely ran through, is that there's really no draw here for Marianne. And so, because really, if the corner guard wasn't up, where that blue corner guard there, if it wasn't there, Kayla likely draws on hers. She just taps
Right.
that blue back a smidge, and Marianne is dead. Kayla's getting 2 all day if she does that. But Kayla looked at that and thought, well, I can't draw in here, so Marianne probably can't either. And so she just picked that one out to say, okay, if Marianne's going to make the in off, well, she can make the in off for 2, and good for her. It's not for 3.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And there were a lot of blue ones lying around the outside 12 foot, so I think that was a good call. And and you have to make it obviously, and she did. And this is a very difficult for Marianne Arsenault now to get 2 points on the board. She has to hit this perfectly in off to remove that shot red stone.
So here we go, looking for some Marianne magic. Tie game with Hammer, looking for an in-off for 2. Will it curl enough? It will not, and so it is a steal of 1 for Kayla MacMillan. Marianne Arsenault in control for most of the end, but a couple misses, and Kayla will put 1 on the board. A huge steal in the 8th. It'll be Kayla MacMillan up 5-4 when we come back. You're watching the BC Scotties live from Kamloops, BC. Welcome back, folks, to continuing coverage of the BC Scotties live on Curl BC TV. You're watching the ladies 1-2 page playoff between Kayla MacMillan and Marianne Arsenault as Sarah Warwick is determined to ruin my eardrums. Actually, I don't even think it was Sarah. I think
I
it
don't
was
think
Corinne.
that was Sarah.
Usually,
That was Corinne.
I'm,
Absolutely.
I'm used to it being Sarah. Oh my goodness, that was hard to focus, but we got it done, and Kayla MacMillan got it done in that 8th end, putting up a great steal, and unfortunately Sarah Loken sliding into the house here, and so this will be an opportunity for Marianne to maybe get the get the end started on the right foot. But Melissa, let's go back to that 8th end and just a strange series of calls from both teams, but it ended up being the first shot miss from Marianne Arsenault that set up the steal for Kayla.
Yeah, and she was set up really well. And you and I talked about, Kayla's last shot. They talked about throwing the guard again. They made probably 4 perfect guards, and her first one just too heavy, gave an out to Marianne, and unfortunately she just threw it too light. But I in hindsight, after we had the conversation, John, I do see why Kayla wanted to play that pick on the back second shot, and that was obviously to not bring a 3 into play in. And she made it great. And Marianne unfortunately missed her in off, which was never an easy shot. And so it is a steal of 1.
Yeah, it just took me, sharing my genius opinion with you, and then you thought, oh, you know what? John is a genius. You might be right here.
I went blank. Do you see how quiet
I was going to
went?
say there was a lot of silence.
Melissa, you there?
That was an awful
I just
lot of
heard John
silence.
genius, and I'm like, what? What's he talking about?
Talking about my appointment with the Apple Store next week. So this is a little bit more open here, which I think would favor Marianne. I'm sure she'd be happy to take the hammer into the 10th end if she could. Although it does look like she was trying to throw us a corner guard here. And Renee will slide it into the house.
Yeah, she probably was trying to throw the corner, but I think she is going to be extremely happy here if she can blank this end. We saw her, was that earlier today? I can't remember. Get a deuce in the, 3 actually in the 10th end to win her game earlier. So she's, was that just this morning?
That was this morning, yep. Feels like 10 years ago.
It sure does.
So if you're Kayla, obviously, Renee slides that one in the rings. She hits it. If you're Kayla, would you ever throw a center guard there? Or is that just you're always hitting and you're just hoping to take your chances in the 10th?
Well, again, we go back to the conversation about analytics, and you can guarantee that both of these teams have had that conversation, and it's always deciding what you want to do as a team. Do you want to be one up without Hammer coming home, or do you want to be one down with Hammer coming home? And, I think it's pretty clear on the men's stats, if I remember correctly, that it's always having Hammer coming home one down. The women's game, I've seen a lot of different kinds of stats, but I kind of am leaning towards the one up without has a little bit more success rate than the other way. But it all depends on your team and your choices that you make. And obviously we can see the choices here. Kayla obviously likes being one up, and Marianne obviously likes being one down. So it's a great fit for both of these teams to play to their game style.
Yeah, no question. And like you said, it's possible Kayla prefers to play without the hammer. Certainly the ends that she's had the most success this game so far have been without the hammer, as she's gotten 3 steals over the course of the game. So maybe she likes her chances to steal in 10 as well.
Still a little stuck, John. I got this weird thing going on in my head about John and genius in the same sentence. So sorry, I'll try and bounce back after that, but it's kind of ringing in my ear a little.
It's it takes some people a little while to get used to the idea, but you hang around me enough and you start to think, you know what? Maybe he's onto something. Lots of time left on the clock for both teams. That's not going to be a concern for either of them, especially since both of them still have 2 timeouts.
You know, one of the things I like to think about here, only because I spend a lot of time watching curling and thinking about curling, is, you know, we've seen a lot of rocks in play every single end, John, and both teams having to think a lot and make some delicate shots and all those kinds of things. And then you get into the ninth end, and simply because of the first two rocks of the end, it's kind of put us in this situation where it's just straight hit, back and forth. And so now you're throwing a lot of hits, but I can guarantee you when we get into the 10th end, it's going to be completely opposite again. And so you just have to wonder sometimes, is this an advantage or a disadvantage of playing the end this way? That's all. That's just my thought.
I mean, you're
Or
the high
does it matter?
performance coach. Those are the sort of things you have to think about. It's above my pay grade. I'll tell you that right now. But no, I mean, I think it's a good point. I think especially, I always felt like when I played, you just, some games you get into are more hit heavy games, and some games you get into are more draw heavy games. And to this point, this has been more of a draw heavy game. And so sometimes when you get taken out of that for an end or two or whatever that looks like, it is in it, and it can be sometimes a little bit more difficult to switch back into draw mode. And especially when you consider that, the 10th end, the pressure's on, right? You got a spot in the BC Scotties final on the
Exactly.
line. It's already hard to make draws in that situation. So,
Exactly.
yeah, it's certainly something worth considering. And I mean, we see Gina Schrader right there just had to draw to an empty house and threw it through. So, it's you're kind of proving your own point there. So maybe it's you that's the genius.
Well, finally, it took you long enough. We've been doing how many games together, and you're just realizing it now. Sheesh.
Well, I maybe knew it all along. I just didn't want to say.
Aw, you're so sweet.
I know. Speaking of sweet, Corinne Brown just putting up 3 in the 8th end. A huge hammer for her in the 8th. So she now takes a 6-5 lead into the 9th in the women's 3-4 game. As Kayla MacMillan gets a free draw here, Melissa. So this is certainly got to think a positive for Kayla.
Oh, absolutely. She's going to think about this one. She's going to throw this one, and she's going to, assuming that she's going to make this perfect, she's going to put this one in her back pocket for later in the 10th end. This is a freebie, as you said, John, and these don't come very often in games like this, especially games that are this close.
Yeah, and this late in the game as well. You get a chance to have a no pressure draw, and looks really solid from Kayla. Obviously a little heavy, but threw it nice, curled to the right spot, and that'll give her some information going into the 10th. So Marianne Arsenault will look to hit and stick so she doesn't give away another free draw to Kayla. And she will make no mistake. So Kayla will look for a hit and stick. And this is a perfect time to point out, Melissa, Kayla does this thing I love in the hack. We talk a lot about pre-shot routines. You're a high performance coach. I'm sure you talk about that with a lot of teams. I love this little blue steel thing Kayla does in the hack. I don't know if you've noticed it, but she'll look down at her feet, and then when she
Yep.
gets set to throw, she gets laser focused, and I get a little scared every time she does it. I love it. So we'll get a good look at it here as she prepares for this open hit.
There it is.
Here we go. Ready? Bam! I'm scared.
I love it. Love it.
So final stone for Kayla MacMillan here in the 9th. Would love to hit and stick here to make Marianne Arsenault's blank a little tougher. And she will indeed stick it. So Marianne Arsenault looking for the blank here. So final stone, Marianne Arsenault looking to keep everything the way it is. And the sweepers will just clean it all the way down. So no mistake from Marianne Arsenault. Both teams comfortable with where they're at heading into the 10th. It'll be Marianne Arsenault down 1, but with the hammer. You're watching the BC Scotties 1-2 game here live on Curl BC TV. Sorry, that sound you heard was me hitting my own head on the microphone. So just in case you're wondering where I'm at right now, I was typing out a message in our chat here and I didn't see where my microphone was and smacked my own head with it. So here we go, 10th end, ladies 1-2 game. This has been a phenomenal back and forth battle here between Kayla MacMillan and Marianne Arsenault. John Cullen alongside Melissa Saligo, and Melissa, I guess really, it's pretty simple here. If you're Marianne Arsenault, you just got to try and put 2 on the board, and if you're Kayla MacMillan, you try to force or steal.
That's right, John, and that's exactly what they're going to do. And you know, Marianne's going to try for as long as she can to try and set up her deuce, and she's going to make a decision probably, I would say maybe Gina Schrader's first, maybe her second. If the things aren't looking good and she will need, you know, if she needs to bail, she'll have to do that then to make sure that she at least gets her single point. But she's going to try here for the first half of this end anyways.
Yeah, as you said, this is a movie that we've seen before earlier today in the B final when Marianne was facing Diane Gushelak. She was in this exact same position, down 1 with hammer, playing 10, and she managed to put 3 on the board. So it's certainly a position she's comfortable in, and as we said, a comfortable position for Kayla MacMillan too, as she's put steals on the board in 3 different ends here. So it's been a good game for her without hammer.
So Sarah Loken really wants this rock to stop.
And it will. A little deeper maybe than she would have wanted, but still in a pretty good spot.
And if this rock is made perfectly by Renee Simons, you're going to see Kayla have to make a decision, and whether she decides to come in again and leave that rock exposed, or if it is exposed at all, or sorry, leave that rock buried. If it is exposed, does she make a play off it? Simply because that rock of Sarah Loken's is maybe a rock's width too deep.
Yeah, we'll have to see what decision Kayla decides to go with. So getting an update on team percentages here, Melissa, and this maybe speaks to how tight this game is. After 8 ends, the team percentage for Marianne Arsenault, 71.8%, and the team percentage for Team MacMillan, 71.5%. So,
wow.
How's that for a tight game?
Wow. Unbelievable. And that was what I say earlier, there was almost a 19% difference in the 2 teams.
Yeah, it just goes to show you Kayla MacMillan has really poured it on here in the second half of the game. And so we do see Kayla MacMillan trying to make a better counter here, and in fact might have made her situation worse as Lindsay Dubé
I think so.
bounces off that red.
Yeah, that is a mistake by Lindsay. Anywhere short there, John. Anywhere short is better than that shot there, unfortunately.
Maybe a little surprised by this call from Marianne, not playing into the house here, but instead trying to run the guard back. But if she can get rid of some of those rocks on the button, it'll be pretty good. So Sasha
Well, especially
Carter.
if she, sorry, yeah, especially if she rolls her shooter over to double guard that one on the left-hand side as it comes into play here, which it won't, but oh boy.
Yeah, that feels like pretty good advantage here for Kayla MacMillan. She's shot 2. So they're just debating what to do here, Melissa. I guess it seems like the choices they were deciding were to hit the corner guard and roll to a center guard, or just straight guard it.
Well, they can see 3/4 to 7/8 of that bluestone as well. That was their initial suggestion. There's not really anywhere good to put a red guard right now, but you know what I'm going to say. We're going to talk about the problem rock, and I think if you're worried about giving up 2, there's one rock that's going to be the issue for you in the future of this specific end, if I can say that word, and that's going to be that corner guard. I don't mind them going for the one in the house, but I don't mind them going for the guard as well. The only thing about going for the guard, obviously, is that those 2 redstones are in a pretty good position for Team Arsenault to play the double on. That's my only concern.
Yeah, certainly. I don't know. I mean,
Until
I know that it's a tough guard. It's a tough straight guard because of the way the 2 red rocks are positioned, but I almost might favor that too, but certainly not a bad idea to get rid of a blue guard in front. So that's what Lindsay Dubé will try to do here. And this is looking more like a straight peel.
I think so.
And it is. So it will be MacMillan lying 2 without Hammer, and Marianne Arsenault electing to replace the corner guard.
So they're trying to get this one into a really good spot here. They don't want to over curl it. And Sasha's been a little heavy in the last couple of ends, and this one unfortunately is also going to slip into the rings. Not what she
Just
wanted.
ever since the 5th end break, Sasha Carter just hasn't quite been able to get things dialed, and that is reflected. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, she looks.
Yeah.
She looks less than pleased. I was just going to say it's reflected in the percentages as well, as she's currently the low player among all teams, curling 64%. So, not the usual performance we're used to from Sasha. Just been a bit of a struggle here for her tonight. So, opportunity here for Jody Maskowicz and Team MacMillan to really eliminate any threat of a deuce.
Trying for the double, if not the hit, and roll towards the center, one or the other. Oh, and just misses it.
Yeah, just kind of misses both of them, really. She didn't quite roll to the center and didn't quite get the double either. Nice throw from Jody Maskowicz, but you can tell she close. Just very close.
Yeah, that's, you wanted to get one or the other for sure, and I think They swept it, obviously, because they were pretty sure that she was going to try and catch that blue one, but unfortunately, it does just go by. So, chance here now for Gina Schrader.
Looking to get rid of at least one of the red ones here is Gina. And she will do just that, but unfortunately
Nice roll.
rolls to a spot where maybe there's a double, although I don't know, it might jam, Melissa.
I don't know. I think it's a roll to a great spot.
Yeah,
I
corner
don't think she.
frozen.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I don't think she can double it, unfortunately. I think
No.
it probably jams. So now all of a sudden this end looking pretty well set up for Marianne Arsenault.
Wow, yeah, I don't think you can double those at all. And I think even if you run the red onto the two blues, John, I'm not sure that will work either. Do you ever throw the draw, the come around? Corner freeze those blue stones.
Yeah, you might have to. You might be reaching into that bag potentially.
Yeah, you saw Kayla there. She was thinking, do you ever pick the back one out? That's very specific. You got to be very, very careful to do that too. But I'm almost leaning towards the draw here. I don't think there's any good way to hit these.
Well, I think, if you're Team MacMillan, right, your first thought is how do we maybe set up a steal here or a force to one. And I think, I think the steal's gone now. Now you're just really trying to find a way to eliminate a potential force here.
Coach Katie Witt out for Team MacMillan and Jerry Richard out for Team Arsenault.
So yeah, what I was trying to say, and I didn't particularly articulate it well, but I guess what I'm saying is it's almost too late to try and preserve like an easy force. I think you almost have to go for the steal here or lose. I think it's almost one is almost out of the question. Oh, it's not out of the question, of course. Marianne could always miss, but I'm just talking strategically. If every team makes the rest of their shots, it's looking pretty good for Marianne. So
I'd be very, very tempted to draw here. I just don't think there's any good way to hit those blue stones right now. And I know they're talking about maybe running that red one in.
Yeah, that seems
I'm just not
to be
sure
what
they're
they
trying
decided.
to accomplish here. Like I think if you look at the way, if you run the red one in and it even noses the blue one or hits the blue one, that blue one's rolling right in front of that red stone, and that's a back button. I'm not sure how you accomplish what you want to accomplish by hitting. I really don't.
Yeah, I guess you just hope for a miss from Marianne at some point, and you maybe get a chance to blast enough of the blues out.
Well, and if you miss this altogether and don't hit any of the blues, then what, right? So I don't think I'm a fan of this shot.
Well, we'll see.
We'll
Jody
find out, though.
Maskowitz looks close here. And so, not a terrible result. Arsenault is shot, but not a bad result for Jody here.
That red one on the side 12 hung in there, and I don't know if there's a rock at the top of the house or not. Her shooter, did it stay? There it is.
Can give you an update from the women's 3-4 game. Sarah Wark getting a 3 back on Corinne Brown. So Sarah Wark has an 8-6 lead. They're playing the 10th. Corinne Brown with the hammer. And if you want to watch the stream of that game, it's available on Curl BC TV. We won't have any alternate camera angles or commentary, but it is there for you to watch if you want to see the thrilling conclusion of both of these games at the same time.
They're looking at maybe hitting that one in the top 12 and rolling to the side 12.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I'm still.
I feel like that rock is helping them, isn't it?
I kind of feel like it is at the moment as well. You know, if you ever throw the outturn freeze, what, I guess you'd have to put it in such a position that Kayla couldn't run the red one in and get everything moving. But this seems, yeah, this seems. I don't know. I want to say counterproductive, but maybe I'm wrong. You really have to keep the shooter in play, though. That's number one, and it won't. Oh boy.
Yeah, that's. I don't know. It just kind of seemed to me like if you were Marianne, you could almost, maybe not guard, but you could certainly just try to get another blue rock in there. It really felt like that red rock was their friend, and so now
I don't really
you're Kayla MacMillan.
That,
you're, yeah, no, if you're Kayla MacMillan, you're feeling pretty darn good right now. You got a hit to lie 3.
Well, and even if you don't lie 3, John, just blast it. Blast that red one out at the back of the button as well. Like, you know, I don't even think you need to play this fancy. Just make sure the blue goes. I'm still trying to think about what the advantage was to hitting that guard in the top, or the rock in the top 12.
I guess it maybe just making sure you get your 1.
Well, I guess it brings the potential of the 2 or 3, or not that you need 3, but the 2 in play by having a counter over there. I'm guessing.
I think that's I think the thought probably is that yes, exactly what you said. Kayla needs that one to stick, and it does. So, yeah, I think it's one of those situations, where maybe she was thinking, if we try to come around or we try to guard and we miss it, we might give up a steal here. Whereas if we hit that one, we roll over to the top 12. We now have a potential catcher that could be what gives us our 2 later on if Kayla misses, but it also ensures that we're for sure going to get at least 1. Does that make sense?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, good. Someone in the chat told me I stopped making sense about a minute and a half ago, so I'm trying to double check my own self. I said it's game 3, so you know we're hanging on.
It's game 3, and you hit your head on your microphone.
I actually did say in the chat that might be what is causing some of my issues. So Marianne Arsenault just going to try to make a face freeze here and hope for a miss from Kayla on her last. And the sweepers have been on this right out of her hand. Don't want to come short here.
Oh,
Do
boy.
not want to be short here. Oh, my. So now it's decision time if you're Kayla. You could just pick this off and allow Marianne the open draw for the force, or you could get real creative and try for the steal here. But I think the pick is the call, Melissa.
I think if she calls the guard, I might have to, I don't know what I would do, but not do that. Don't do that.
not guard, but I'm thinking draw another one in there. But
oh, I see. No, John, hit it.
Okay,
hit it, John.
Look, I'm just trying to be devil's advocate to my genius partner here. So final stone here for Kayla MacMillan in the 10th. Just got to make this blue one go away.
You're going to sweep this and make sure you don't want to come flirt with any chance. This one's curling quite a bit, John.
It is.
Can't see, but I think it's okay.
Yep.
There we
That'll
go.
do the trick. Yep. So Marianne Arsenault will have a draw to the button to send this to an extra. Great shot from Kayla. I was maybe expecting her to throw a rocket there and just pick it out.
I was too.
She threw that. She
was
threw that
too.
sort of normal and hung around there, which I don't mind either.
Oh, Marianne's hitting it.
Marianne is hitting this, so maybe just not super confident in her draw weight after the last one.
Doesn't have a lot of room to roll. She pretty much wants to hit this right on the nose.
Yeah, the one Kayla just threw could be a factor. Marianne Arsenault just needs a nose hit to send this to an extra.
Nice 10, 10.5 you can hear from the brushers.
And Marianne,
this looks great.
Long-time second, makes no mistake on a hit. No surprise there. So this is a 5-5 tie, and we'll be heading to an extra. You're watching the BC Scotties 1-2 game. We'll be back right after this. And we are back. You're watching the BC Scotties 1 versus 2 page playoff game between Kayla MacMillan and Marianne Arsenault. And it looks like the teams are just Marianne.
Well, Marianne's not out
taking
there
a break,
yet.
obviously. Yeah, she's not out there yet. So usually you do get a little bit of an extra break in between the 10th and the extra. So that's probably what Team Arsenault was maybe asking for. You certainly don't love throwing this first rock with only 3 players. But thank you for joining us. Live coverage here on Curl BC TV. A little bit of bonus curling here. It's been an up and down game. John Cullen alongside Melissa Saligo here as we're watching Marianne Arsenault take on Kayla MacMillan, who will have the hammer here in the extra end. And Melissa, a bit of a bizarre 10th end, but Kayla MacMillan ended up getting the result.
Yeah, it was.
And
there was a couple of calls.
she got the result she wanted, so she's happy.
Right. Yeah, she's very happy, obviously, and we were questioning a couple of the calls, obviously, that that one by Marianne that hit the one Gina hit the top 12 and was trying to roll to the side. We understand now that she was trying to roll to the side, obviously, because she wanted that to be a counter, but it was kind of an interesting call. She was shot rock at that point, and I felt like she could have drawn in and maybe froze to her own stone, and I think she was just worried that Kayla would have had that angle run off that one that was 12 foot. So I get why she called it, and she's playing it a little bit on the safer side. Had to make sure she scored there, obviously.
So Sarah Loken looking for the tick, but Looks like she might have just caught a little bit too much of that blue stone, and so it will get replaced.
First tick we've seen in our broadcast, I think, John.
Yeah, somehow.
Right on.
We've called a decent number of blowouts, so so we haven't seen too many ticks because it just doesn't get there. So good try from Sarah Loken, but this will give Renee Simons an opportunity to stack some center guards here for Marianne Arsenault.
Very
And she'll
consistent.
get, yeah, just a little bit, maybe a little closer to that guard than she would have wanted. She probably would have liked that just over the hog line. But now with the guard staggered, Kayla electing to come in the house here. And I like this call. I think sometimes teams push a little too hard for that second tick. And sometimes it's just important to get a rock in there first.
Yeah, I like this a lot as well. Sarah Loken's made a ton of draws so far this game, and this is probably the most important one at the moment. Must be T-line or above. Does not want to slip behind the T-line. But they are, I think she was heavy, so they're sweeping it as far back as they can, so a good audible.
Yeah, Sarah's just been a little bit heavy on her draws. And actually, we've seen that from a lot of the players in the second half of the game in particular. We've seen Sasha Carter struggle with draw weight a little bit, and Sarah has too, coming just a little bit deep on a few.
Throwing a third guard.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? I like it simply because those two are I think, grouped together. So I think that's why Marianne is thinking that might
Yeah,
be
you're
the way to go
essentially,
here.
sorry, yeah, you're essentially guarding the double peel, right? Because you know Lindsay
Correct.
Dubé is a great hitter, and you know that she can make that double peel in her sleep. So certainly the right call from Marianne, but the triple peel is on here if Lindsay can get it in the right spot.
Yeah, if she ever hits half a rock, she might get all three of these blue stones moving.
Needs
No,
this to
just a
curl
single
though.
peel.
Yeah, just won't quite get there. So it is still MacMillan lying one, but Arsenault with two guards in front. So Sasha just trying to replace that. Would ideally like for this one to be a couple feet higher, Melissa.
Yeah, and I think I heard Sasha say a little bit lighter. So she might have made the adjustment.
And she did
Nice
indeed.
shot.
So nice spot there for Sasha Carter. So now Kayla can continue to peel, or would you ever try to draw around again here, Melissa, or you like the peel right now?
I like the peel. Give it another try, another peel or two. I mean, I guess you think about it though, John, you ever do that, what does Marianne do?
Yeah,
If you ever come
exactly. But
around top four behind three blue guards.
and
It's
the
not,
top two were staggered. That was just sort of my
yeah.
thought. But yeah, you'd never want to come deep. And of course, Lindsay Dubé making any question of that seems silly as she makes a phenomenal peel, gets rid of two of those blues, and starting to look pretty solid here for Kayla MacMillan.
I think I'm going to test that theory though, John, in my Wednesday morning next time I play. I'm going to try with that three guards when I have hammer and try and come around and see what happens. I
I
think that's a
like
good
it.
idea. I do too.
So we do have a final in our 3-4 game, Melissa. Corinne Brown unable to complete the comeback on Sarah Wark. So an 8-7 victory for Sarah in the 3-4 game. So Corinne Brown, the #1 seed in the Scotties, is now out. And the loser of this game will drop to the semifinal to play Sarah Wark. That game will go tomorrow. So Jody Maskowicz looking to keep the peel party rolling here for Team MacMillan. And just misses that double peel. And so things continue to stay the same here. The more they change, the more they stay the same. It's still MacMillan lying one with hammer and Marianne Arsenault putting up another guard.
All right, Gina Schrader just trying to put this guard as far apart as possible from her other blue stone as we see it just coming in, and that's the key here for Team Arsenault. Just keep throwing up the guards, and I think it's pretty straightforward for both teams here.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially for Kayla with that back blue guard being just a little bit off center. You know that even if Marianne makes a perfect draw on her last one, you'll still have the button to draw to. So
right.
that makes the decision even easier for Kayla, I think.
Trying to get them both. Oh, and just misses.
Couple very close misses for Jody Maskowicz, but she's had a great second half of the game. Melissa, has to be said, has really helped this MacMillan team in their comeback effort.
Oh, I would agree. She's played terrific this last half. And so I think that Marianne, John, is she throwing another guard?
I
Her first
believe
here?
so. I think so, yeah. I mean, sometimes you do see skips come in on their first one, so she might be. I'm not positive. Again, the broom taps happen so quickly. So first stone here for Marianne Arsenault.
It's gone very quiet out there now
I
with
know.
that
I
other
was
sheet.
I was thinking the exact same thing. Well, and ironically enough, I think we have two of the quieter teams in the competition in our game, and two of the louder ones are on the sheet next
That's
door.
right.
So it certainly
Right. Oh, I
feels a
think
lot quieter now.
yeah, they're coming around, it looks like. Didn't look like a lot
Yep.
of ice to come around.
No, but it looks like a pretty good one here from Marianne.
Absolutely. Great shot by Marianne Arsenault. Wow.
Perfectly buried.
Lovely shot.
Great shot from Marianne. And so Kayla has a choice to make. She could peel, she could try the run back, or she could play the sort of tap back freeze. I don't know what you like, Melissa. My first lean was just to peel the top one.
I think so too. I think that rock is in too good of a spot to not. I mean, you could take the run at it if you wanted to, but I don't think the draw or the tap is the right shot at this point. That guard isn't that far up. So they call the timeout. They'll bring out their coach, Katie Witt, to have a discussion. I mean, again, it's all going to come down to what Kayla is feeling. Most people would just. The thing is, if you go up and you peel it, then pardon me, Marianne is likely going to bring a rock maybe into, well, probably not even to the top 12, just freeze it, or sorry, just guard it again. So the run's a
We'll
bit
see.
tough, I think.
Yeah, we might be able to see, or sorry, we might be able to hear what the teams are actually saying. Katie Witt sporting a wonderful turtleneck here this evening, looking very cozy. I can hear that even Mike turned up the ice mics for us, and we still can't hear what they're
Still
saying.
can't
So
hear. No.
yeah,
Darn.
it's interesting, Melissa. Looking at that overhead again, that Arsenault stone is in such a good spot.
It really is.
It is it is almost tempting to try to come and make a play at it. I know that's so dangerous. If you ever just tip the guard, if you're ever light and you're just sort of in front of it, you're in huge trouble. But I don't know. It's just if you peel the guard, even if Marianne just replaces it, you're drawing for the pinhole for the win, and that's not easy.
Well, do you ever just try the run then, John, and just try and move that blue stone off the button? I mean, that's tough too. And yeah, I see your point, and yeah, it's a tough call, but again, it goes to preference here for Kayla MacMillan. The guidebook says peel,
For sure,
but I
and that does look
agree.
like what she's decided. Because I think the thing is too, with where the Arsenault stone is, you were talking about a lot of teams in this situation, like you say, would come top 12 or top 8 to cut down the
Hmm.
draw path. But Kayla's such a good hitter that I don't know that you would necessarily want to even come in the house. Your rock is in such a good spot that you may just elect to guard it and force Kayla to draw the screw. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Marianne decides to do after Kayla peels this. But it's all of a sudden looking very positive for Marianne Arsenault without the hammer here in the 11th.
Looks like just a straight peel.
Yeah. So they took a look in that guidebook that you were referring to, Melissa, and did exactly that. So Marianne having to decide now exactly where she wants to put this. And do you agree with my theory, Melissa, that maybe they should just decide to throw a guard here? It does look like that is what they're doing.
Yeah, I would throw it just outside the ring simply because of that stone in the back 12. As you say, it's, if you ever give Kayla a chance at a double, she's going to take it, obviously. And so the idea here is trying to keep this rock. I mean, you can't be too far out because then they could potentially play the shot you were referring to earlier, and that's the come around tap as well for the win. So you want Kayla MacMillan, if you're at Marianne Arsenault, you want her to throw a shot to the pinhole to win this game.
So we'll see if Marianne Arsenault can just replace that guard. It was in a perfect spot. Her final stone here in the extra end, and she's lying one without hammer. And they think it's a little bit tight out of her hand. Weight
Line looks
sounds
pretty
perfect.
good.
Yeah, line looks good too. It might over curl just a smidge. They just want it to slow down here. And I
Did it
think that
over
might have curled a
curl?
little bit too far. Yep.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah, Marianne said right out of her hand she wanted Renee Simons to hold it out, and it just never quite stayed out as far as she wanted it to. So Kayla MacMillan will have a shot here to go to the BC Scotties final.
And she's just trying to decide what she wants to throw here. She originally, I think she might have been looking at the pick, but she could throw a nice soft tap. You can see almost all of that stone. Uh,
Yeah, I like this. I think you want to bring your sweepers into play as much as you can here. And there's no danger of a jam, as if you're jamming it, the rock you're throwing is counting.
is
So
exactly, yeah. So a nice soft hit here. I assume she's throwing about maybe easy board weight, perhaps. Maybe a little bit more than board.
yeah, that's what I would be throwing for sure. And I'm guessing that's what Kayla's looking for as well. So it's the final stone, it's the extra end, and a berth in the BC Scotties final is on the line. Kayla MacMillan.
She looks like she got out to the broom on that.
Looks close.
It's got a curl. It's got a curl.
Yeah.
It's by the guard for sure.
Will it hang around? It will. Kayla MacMillan, what a shot.
Wow,
Talk
what a
about
shot
pressure.
by Kayla.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Her
They
first
almost
BC
overswept it. I was getting a
Scotties.
little jumpy.
Yeah. It's her first BC Scotties and her first BC Scotties final, and she's looking pretty calm about it all, but a phenomenal shot from Kayla MacMillan on her last. And so it will be Kayla MacMillan in the BC Scotties final on Sunday. Marianne Arsenault will drop to play Sarah Wark in the semifinal. What a fantastic game. We'll be back right after this with an interview with Kayla. My God. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. It is the BC Scotties 1-2 game, and it is a victory for Kayla MacMillan, and we've got her down at ice level. Kayla, you are in the BC Scotties final. How does that sound?
Oh, it's so exciting.
Well, you're acting like you did pretty much when you made that shot to win, Kay. You're just so calm and collected. Good for you.
Oh, thanks.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
Kayla, you guys are struggling. We were getting the stats and we were looking at the stats, and you guys seem to be struggling. You know, you specifically the first half of the game. What happened at the fifth end break to turn it around for you?
I don't know. We started off definitely slow, especially myself, but the team really kept me in it. It felt really gritty, I'm not going to lie, but we made a promise to each other that we would never give up on ourselves or each other, so I knew that it didn't really matter what the score was. We were just going to keep ourselves in it and make some shots and hope for a good outcome.
Nice.
Well, you got a good outcome. It looked like as soon as the game ended, you checked your heart rate monitor on your watch. What was it reading? Can I get a little inside scoop or
I didn't
what?
check my heart rate. I checked the time. I was like, it's past my bedtime.
Wow, that's as cool as you like. I mean, I'm just, you win the game and you're like, oh my gosh, how dare they keep me up past my bedtime?
It's like 10 o'clock.
Hey, look, you're right. It's past my bedtime, too. So thank you for the reminder. I do appreciate that. So, Kayla, you have the day off now. You're in the BC Scotties final. What's the next sort of 36 hours going to look like for you as you get ready for this, arguably the biggest curling game of your life?
Honestly, I'm not too sure yet. I know we'll debrief this and come up with a plan for tomorrow to get lots of rest and food, but still stay, energized as best we can in our hotel room.
Wonderful. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you in the final on Sunday, Kayla. It's going to be a great one, and we'll look forward to seeing all of you back here tomorrow morning. We will have coverage of the men's 1-2 game starting at 9 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow morning. For Melissa Saligo, I'm John Cullen. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.